Hi, good night, and welcome to tonight's show. Peter Clarke. Tonight, I'm joined by my fellow co-host, Mr. Akim Nero. Sunny evening. Dwayne Collymore, Clint Sit Hill, and Mr. Damian Reed. Good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night, buddy.
Yeah, and tonight we are also joined by a very, very special guest. Someone who, most of us are quite familiar with. He has been, traveling the world. He's doing great things. The psychologist for the Australia's cricket team, Mr. Peter Clarke.
Good night, Jace. Good night, everybody.
Good night, bud.
How are you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm well. I can't complain at all. It's always nice to connect with fellows from the soil. So I'm excited for tonight to chat cricket and all else things. Akim Nero. Because I know
Well, Peter, honestly, it's a pleasure to have you here, and I'm really looking forward to this chat. You're someone who, from remember back in the day, whenever you have a chat with Peter, you're talking cricket. It's always a very interesting and intriguing conversation. So I'm definitely, looking forward to tonight's chat.
Likewise, buddy. Likewise.
Yeah. So before we get into that, how the guys doing? Let's like to check in with the guys. How the guys doing? They really how you thought about the All-Star weekend,
I wasn't. Was it poor? It was poor.
It was poor. I didn't even watch it.
It was poor. Ending to the shot career for Don Clinic, but overall it was very
Nero, contest.
I don't want to get too in depth with that idea, but
but I just want to know. Like, to me, I don't find that game as like, yeah, it's an all-star, it's got all-stars, but you don't want a competitive edge, Nero.
Right.
I want respect and all of that. Yeah, so
I know, but I mean, come on, Nero.
Listen,
You can at least step up. You can step up a little, make it look good for your TV. But you next score 167 points, Nero. I can't watch that.
I got something worse than that. I will send you the modern Pro Bowl, the NFL Pro Bowl. You take the NBA rough.
Yeah, that's horrible.
You don't want to see the NFL Pro Bowl.
I don't like anything, man.
Receivers playing corner, man, do pure job.
Yeah, I don't like that. So I don't get too deep into that. That's the truth. That's the truth. It's just
Really something on your end, but I see John Campbell back in his style. We can get that there a little bit.
don't give me an idea, man.
Like you had a
What did you do that, Jen? I was thinking, depressing.
we can get to that a little later.
I feel better to we podcast though, yes. I feel we select teams here though.
But
I feel so.
I got the problem with John there, so I
I know, man.
I good with that there. But like I said, we can get to that a little later. But without further ado, I just want to get this chat with Peter. Peter, like I would have said in the introduction, you are now the psychologist of the Australia's cricket team, and this is the Australia that Glenn McGrath would have Astro, Shane Warne, some of the greats of you, Peter Clarke, young boy who would have gone to Queen's College, based to Swiss Clayton Hill, probably score 100. You are now the psychologist of the Australia's cricket team, Peter. Just before we get into asking any, all of the questions, just take us on the journey, Peter. Like from where you started to where you are currently.
Depends on how far back you want me to go.
How far back you want?
I can just go from, I guess, finishing school and leaving Barbados. So I left Barbados in 2009 to come to Australia to study.
Okay.
I always wanted to do sports because, I was interested in that, the mental side of the game. Everybody on this call understand we know a lot of men that if good players play well in nets, I can't transfer that to middle, So I was just interested in how to get the best out of yourself, myself included, and how to help other people do so. So I went over there to study, did my undergrad, which is 4 years, Bachelor of Psychological Science, and then honors, and then I did my postgraduate studies straight away. So all that at the University of Queensland. And then in terms of how I ended up at University of Queensland, we watch Test cricket Australia. I only know the names of the places that play Test cricket. So I applied for University of Melbourne, University of Sydney. And if I had a University of Brisbane, I would have applied for University of Brisbane, Queensland. So I applied to those places, and University of Queensland get back to me first. And I was still playing at the time, so I look at their cricket clubs. I see at Martin Love play for University of Queensland and Michael Kaspovich. And like Andy Bickle played in that league around that time and things like that. So I say, I want to go and study there and play at that cricket club. So that's how I ended up there. And I played at the cricket club all the way through. So 2009 until about 2014, 15, the whole while I was studying when I first went there. Their system, I don't know what it is in Barbados now. When I left, first division was like the highest thing. But they had saying you right saying it elite or
elite.
That's the same thing.
Same thing, different name, same thing.
Right. So the equivalent of that over here, they got sixth grade. They got first class cricket, and then underneath that, now you got first grade. That's the next best down to sixth grade. So I played my first season in second grade, and then I spent a couple of years going up and down into first grade, and then I have about 3 years just playing first grade. I was very lucky to play on a side with a lot of very good players, and we won a lot of premierships. So it was very enjoyable personally, and also to get to rub shoulders with a lot of great players. While I was playing there, I also got my coaching certificates. So I'm now a level 3 in Australia. They got the 3 levels. No, sorry, they got 4 levels, but the first one's level 0. Don't ask me how I meant to say. I am not getting rules. But I did all my coaching certificates now. So I'm up to level 3, which is internationally qualified. And the cricket club looked after me really well to put me through those, to give me different opportunities. Once you go to level 2 and 3, you have to be nominated and paid for to do that. So I played, I coached, I studied kind of all at the same time. And then by the time I finished studying, I was 24, going 25, and I couldn't be about play cricket every single Saturday. I had to go and get a job and try and work and help support my family. So that's what I did. And I stopped playing at a serious level then. I just took on the coaching role at the University of Queensland Cricket Club. So that's a role that I still hold. And then once I was finishing studying in terms of a professional standpoint, I worked at a university called Queensland University of Technology. I worked as part of this sport and leadership program, student success and all that kind of stuff. And in the meantime, I was doing some consulting. So, I don't know if you're familiar with a sport called AFL over there, Australian Football League. So, right, Aussie Rules Football. I did a little bit of consulting work with a team in Brisbane there. I did a little bit of work with Queensland Tennis while I was at university, my master's. I did a little bit of work in the dance and performing arts, mind you, believe it or not. And that was a real eye-opener as well. All those things were happening. I got an opportunity to do a presentation for Cricket Australia. This would have been 2016, early in the year. And a mentor of mine, my supervisor at university, he's probably the most connected man in Australia when it comes to sports, right? So he gives a lot of his former students opportunities to go in. And so he was doing a presentation. I tagged along. It was for the coaches at the time. And right about that time as well, they were building. I was still working at QT, but they were trying to build up the women's game, a bit of an injection in cash. So what they did is they combined a pathway role, so the male and female pathway players, you're under 15, 16, 19, all that kind of stuff. And then a women's team role, they had combined those two, and they were advertising for a new job. So after I had done that presentation, I was on a little short list. I was told to apply, and I went through the process, applied, and I was fortunate enough to get gifted that opportunity. So I started working with the women's team, and in the pathway, that was exclusively that for the first couple of years I was working there. That was 2016. And over a period of time, I think 2018 or 2019, I did a T20 tour with the men. And then the following year, I did a little bit more work. I did the India Test Series in, I can't remember the date. No, it's either 1920 or 2021 when India was in Australia. And they beat us 2-1. And then obviously some more T20 work with the fellas after that. So still maintain my role with the women's team. That's where I am currently on tour. And I've been in that role for 6 years. Working the pathway over that period of time as well. And there's been a few opportunities to head over in the men's team where the women's team schedule allowed as well. So yeah, long story short, that's as succinct a summary as I could give and where I've ended up in this position.
Yeah, appreciate that. Peter, I mean, can you talk us through the emotions that you would have felt, when you actually got the confirmation that you would now be the psychologist of the Australian cricket team. I mean, like I said, I would have called some names. There's some things that would have passed through, that would have passed through the Australia's team. So, like I said, it must have been a surreal feeling for you to know that, I mean, you by nature you're a very humble guy, but still, you must have been overwhelmed with emotion, when you got confirmation that you would have been, holding this position or holding that post. So, can you just talk us through briefly of how you felt when you got confirmation of being a psychologist of the team?
Well, I got correct. I'm not the only psychologist there. So one of the psychologists that works in the network, like at that time, there was, the guy who was my supervisor and my boss at the time, Michael Lloyd, who's still there. He's going to Pakistan with the men's team when they head over, and he's been a great mentor of mine. So that being said, there's a couple of us, but getting the opportunity to work in those teams, it was it's surreal, a great opportunity. I was excited. Obviously, cricket is my thing. I love all sports, but cricket is the one that that I played at a decent level, and obviously coming from the West Indies is the first passion of mine. So it was a great opportunity. I was excited for sure. I mean, you obviously have to balance. You can't go into a role like this, and people be very clear. They know the people who are in it for the t-shirt. The fellow who just want to say, yeah, I work with the Australian team, or I work with the West Indies team. And basically the thing about that is you got to watch for people who want to claim credit for the success of the athletes. And I will never do that. So I don't take a massive amount of pride about telling people, yeah, I work with the Australian team, or I do this, or I do that. Mm-hmm. Inside, it was a good acknowledgement of the work that you put in, a great opportunity, and I was fortunate enough to have it at the time. So I was very happy in that regard. But making sure that I'm not a fanboy, or you're not in it for the t-shirt either. You're there to do good work. But it's just like they say about anybody who makes a team. You met the West Indies team, you go play, or Australia team, you go play. You're happy, but making the team is not what it's about. Making the team is only the first step. So getting my foot through the door was nice, but then it was about thinking, well, how do I actually do good work in this role, build relationships, and be successful in the job. So yeah, that moment of euphoria was short-lived. It was nice acknowledgement, but then it's like, all right, time to do some work.
Time to get into business.
Correct.
Yeah. Earlier you would have said, about the path to actually, having the ability, having the skills, but not in the nets, looking in the nets, but sometimes not having the ability to transfer, as Fred would like to say, when the lights are on. How important is it? Oh, sorry, not how important is it? Like, what, like, do you? I want to come back to the Caribbean, and you're not in the Caribbean. You're in Australia now, but I'm not sure how affiliated you are with the Caribbean. Do you think that here in the Caribbean that we take the psychological aspect of sports? Do you think that we take that part serious enough or in the Caribbean?
That's a good question. I can't speak for what happens now. Excuse me, behind the scenes, because I'm no longer there, right? And I don't like commenting on things I don't know for sure. I can speak about when I was there on a party system, playing you forget, and everyone on this call will understand the same thing. So I remember we went to England in 2016, right? Barbados on the 16 team. We went to England and we played against England on the 15. Joe Root was captain. No, he wasn't captain. He was in our team. I don't think he was captain at the time. But what our training consisted of was going to Queen's Park Oval for the evening. I think 1 or 2 days a week. And we will run 2 or 3 laps. We were still taking umbrella catches. People hear you catch you stand up. And then you would train on the wicket until it get dark or whatever. And that was it. That was our training. So I remember we went to England now. Phil Wallace was our manager, and George Linton was our coach at the time. And then we found out these men were living at the academy, Loughborough, so the National Cricket Centre in England at Loughborough. These men were living there for over a month, right? Living there as a group, training every day, doing gym, S&C, psychology, all these things, nutrition. And all we're doing is doing umbrella catches at Queen's Park. It was chalk and cheese. And the other thing is, from a preparation standpoint, because you guys know they used to say, no, West region and South region, you'll play the tour games against them. And we'll beat up bad licks. So they came to Barbados in preparation for that. The year in front, I believe it was Licks. We beat them 6-0. West Region 3-0, South Region 3-0. We going to England now, and we played 2 warm-up games. I can't remember who was first, but we played 2 warm-up games against South Region, and after we played England, we played 2 against West, all vice versa. So we played these games, and at the time we had men like Diego Stewart, Ronald Bourne, and we had some good picks, right? Men are bowling fast at that point in time. So we beat up this team bad. Let me say this South Region first. We beat them up bad. And the man has scouts out again. We came out to find the English team has sent scouts to the games. He said, these boys got some fellas was more fast. But I think we had taken 3 like spinners overseas, right? Can't remember. I know Daryl Vaughn was there, Chad Simmons, and I feel as if we had one more, at least 2. Anyway, so we mentioned these fellas here bowling fast. All right. We got to Loughborough to play the games. England, so we think your ball could be swinging it. You can see, man, not a blade of grass on this wicket. Not a blade. Wicket dead and dry at Loughborough. So the man scouted us, and still we got fast bowlers. The man said they got fast bowlers. They only picked 2 fast bowlers and beer spin. So our fast bowlers ain't getting there out the wicket. They were bowl opening bowlers and then bowl spin for the whole rest of the thing. We'd be 70 without loss after 10, all out 180 foot. Right? So what we realized over those periods of time is the preparation, the level of preparation, whether it be planning, tactics, training, strength and conditioning, the gym work, the nutrition, the psychological aspect. We were not doing any of that. We were just going to hit balls at training and run a few laps. Now that's not to disparage the coaches we had at the time. Everybody was doing the best with what they had, but that was just what we had. So I understood at that point in time there was a massive gap between the way these countries are training, whether it's England, Australia, India now in this day and age, countries that have a lot more money and better facilities than us, and it's just a massive gap. So I don't know how much that gap would have closed at the time. Obviously, I got a few friends that are all of our friends that are in West Indies team.
Hey, wait in. And close it. Wait in.
Right, you're right. So, and a lot of that comes on the finances and the way that the resources are distributed. So yeah, I don't know what it is specifically at the time of Barbados, but I know certainly from when I was there, even comparing the national setup to what I coach at University of Queensland, right, which is just a team in the competition. Let me say like a pick. Their team in the competition here to play in men's sport. We have 8 nets, synthetic nets. So we had to pitch and prepare. We got 8 synthetic nets. We got 4 turf nets. And I get prepared as well. And we got lights. So when you leave work, you come in to train. You get trained at 5 o'clock. You could train until 7:30 on the oval and get your fielding in when it down. We field for an hour. Every training we field for an hour in lights. And then we go in the nets and we will train in the nets at night. This is a cricket club. Now you guys know what is in the West Indies. Like even at a national level, we don't have things like that. So it's definitely a massive gap, both resources wise and certainly from the time I left, there was a big gap in terms of what we do to prepare people psychologically.
Hi Peter, Nero here. 20 minutes into the interview. I think
yeah.
This guy is very well spoken and stuff, but I just want them to know that this guy is a full comedian here. This guy is a full comedian. I just want you guys to know that. If my memory serves me correctly, I would have probably first met you through Jade Podmore. Yeah, right. Obviously, I knew the name Peter Clarke because you were on the 15 captain and stuff, but we weren't close or anything. So yeah, I remember it was good. I went when you were there. Jade be lying there. No, I said, yeah. I see Brooks. I see Carbon. I see Stowe. I said, yeah. This is the cricket hub. Everybody, I see a bunch of cricketers. I was like, so was that always the case? Where your host was always a cricket hub? How did that come about?
Yeah, that's a good question. So my mom, is always very welcoming and inviting. But when I was at school or when right at primary school or secondary school, people will always come and line up my house. Make sure they got food cooked. So people started knowing, we go across by Pete, and we had to play cricket in the road or do whatever it is, but we know we can get good food and we can play dominoes all night. My mom was very, very patient. We played dominoes. It's 4 in the morning. On a Saturday morning, man got cricket, and then it was still slamming dominoes. A quick aside, one morning, it must be, my mother's got about 5 o'clock. So it's 5 o'clock. Man slamming dominoes. Me, Brooksy, Harry, Scotty that used to run track and field rooms. A bunch of my friends. So man slamming doms, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Remember the girl, she's still there. You mean that I went to bed last night at 8:30 and it's 5 o'clock in the morning. We're still playing domino. Hell or high water. This is the last game. Mind you, Harry, I can't remember the minute table, so I might get names wrong. But let me say Harry on 5, Brooksy on 5, Rome's on 4, and Rome's just win that game. Right? Sorry, and Rome's is on 4. 5, 5, 4. I ain't love. No matter what I'm saying, hell or high water. This guys. You know Rome's with the game. 5, 5, 5. When I said fellas, no high water.
Oh, go.
Yeah. Well, it's always a place where the men will come online. And then obviously, the more and more people you meet through cricket, the more and more people will come over and breeze up. My mom was very accommodating and let everybody come through. So it just ended up being a good lineman spot.
Yeah. Secondly, you were. I always wanted to answer this question. You were on the 15 captain, right? Mm-hmm. Normally, the trajectory is, unless you fall off massively, you play on the 19 cricket. I don't think you didn't. I don't think you made the team that year. Did that play a decision? Was that a major part of the decision for you to say, well, this cricket thing probably ain't gonna work out, or going overseas and studying was always in the works?
I wouldn't say that I played a role in me leave. I was always all of my siblings. So my father was married twice. There's 7 of us siblings. So me and Rachel from my mom. I had five children in first marriage, and everybody has gone overseas to study. And my mom did as well, and my father. Just to go and experience a different part of the world. Learn to fend for yourself, cook your own food, wash your own clothes, get a job, and support yourself. So that was always in the pipeline somewhere. And I trying to think now when that was. That would have been 2008 maybe. So I would be 18 at the time. I had captain. So we had trial games and things like that. I captained Barbados under 15, under 16. And I had captain in trial games. I only played 2 games and then I broke my finger. And I met 50 cents in one game I get retired. And I met 30 cents in the next one, right? So I had scored runs. And then I had broken my finger. And then, I tell you how combined schools, I was playing for Pickwick. And the man said, look, you're going to play for Pickwick. Because that's another spot somebody played combined schools. So I was up for, let me say, however long my finger back. And then it came back and it was, my finger was flying, I was ready to play. And I ain't hearing that from nobody. I was playing for Pickwick. I ain't hearing that from nobody. My best team got picked. The boy called me, the boy tell me name. I just find out. I think somebody called me Corbs or something. I said, Pete, you don't get a call? You on this minute? What are you talking about? I didn't even know the site got announced. So the site got announced. I wasn't in it, and I wasn't even in the reserves. And nobody didn't call me on that. At the time when you're 8, you just feel away about that.
For sure.
Everybody cussing them, I think so. I was at the time, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not the end of the world. But I thought I was there or thereabouts, and the mates and they was talking about me captaining the team, and then next minute I ain't hearing nothing after injury. So that's what happened. I wouldn't say that sent me overseas. I was certainly upset at the time about it. But man, I don't hold no grudges about nothing like that.
I hear that neither.
You're right. That's the other thing about it, hero. The longer that you around the game, you understand that whenever you get a spot, it means somebody else miss out, right? So if you miss out, you can't get vets and carry on like a pork chop, because if you to get a spot, it means somebody else miss out and them upset too.
Yeah, but it could still communicate though. Like simple communication would probably eliminate you feeling as the man of God said, but hey, we didn't consider you because of the injury and it was so and so was performance. So we
Sonny, if the man don't communicate in 2022, you think in 2017 and 2009 and them sort of things, they care about communication, that ain't relevant. It's just part of the system. And like hearing Peter, you probably watch a couple episodes, I bash the system all the time. Because like I was never in the system. I was never in the system or whatever the case. But I play cricket, be around cricket. Consider myself really decent to keep or whatever the case. But the system is not set up in a way that it nourishes people outside of the system. You are fortunate to be in the system, coming up through but like when you got people that are outside of the system who have a little talent that like then the nourishment there for that, is like the system is basically tell what, get a job, boy. Forget what is cricket. So you gotta accept that fast. You understand? So like here you mentioned the gaps in the system. I mean, you coming from that, there's a person that was in the system. It just compounds and strengthen the point that is made that until we fix our system here in the Caribbean, not only in Barbados but in the Caribbean, we will always be second fiddle at the international level. And I mean, hearing you speak on how at age 17 you went to England and these guys in a system where it's like they're sleeping and they learn to bond, they learn to train, they're learning the mental aspect of the game. And then they might be getting beat. They might be getting beat at that level at that age because we generally beat them off of talent. As I always say this all the time, we are more talented than most of these other nations. But that gonna pass, we gonna pass, I know. So it's like to see, and then you seeing route today now is like what could have been for, let me say, an example, Peter Clarke or a Shamar Brooks, for example, who took so long to burst onto the international scene. You understand? After being around a crop like Virat Kohli, and you seeing these guys transition easy, it's just strengthening the point. Like, I don't know when we here in the Caribbean would get, to understand that psychology and other aspects of the game affect the overall product. You understand? Me, obviously, too, studying psychology, not sports psychology, but understanding the human brain and behaviors is like it all ties in not only to sports but life. It ties into life, and we skip that aspect in the sports arena. And I mean, I met you a couple of times, Peter, like from being around Leslie. You come in the turn in the night to play some tape ball, and unfortunately, the lights didn't work. You had, that night was a big night, JS boy. Because was away that night, the lights would not work.
Yeah.
Big squad. I think I had a couple of friends that I had bring down.
Yes.
You understand? It was this, and it's like, correct. And not only to mention, like, we look past tape ball, and currently that trend that has died. To me in the Caribbean, there's no longer, you can't pass in a village and see 16 youngsters playing tape ball or playing cricket on a hard court. That's far and few.
Yeah, that's true, boy. Far
and few. So it's like we tend to skip certain things and look past certain things, but we expect the bigger picture, to be the end product to be real. And I mean, it's very interesting just hearing you. I could sit down and listen to you just speak all night. You understand? It's very interesting to hear. But my question to you though, Peter, like working with the likes of Steve Smith, Marnus Islam Shane, Pat Cummins, like how just, I don't know if you could get too deep, but like if you could share a piece of how these guys' minds work, like that would be so exciting to me. Understand, a person who's just watching on the outside and comment, but to find out the little details, like you don't have to get too deep, but like you could just give me a day in your life, like working with that crop.
Right, no problem. Like, firstly, I didn't finish that story in totality. We're going to England in 2006. We got beaten bad as hell by England here. I mean, finished that. We beat West Region and South Region, and they're like, England wax me. Work out what we could do, what we can't do. Let me just make sure I cleared that before somebody from England started responding. Make it something we beat them. We get beat bad by England. We beat West Region, South Region, get beat bad. All right. So that's to close that off. To your point, the first point that you made before I answer the question about the system, I don't want to be very clear. I will never try to down cry, you know what I mean, or forget where you come from, coming from Barbados or doing whatever it may be. Because I'm very proud, where I come from, as a Bayesian, no matter where it is in the world. And I am actually proud of all the guys here, or all the guys playing the West Indies team, because of what we overcome with less compared to other people, right? We do not have,
True.
And I don't know if it's a fault of administration or if we just don't get the money. I don't know what happens there. But to see somebody like Shay, so I know Shay because, Shay's mother, because we went to school together, or Kyle, or Brooksy, or Jace, any of these men that we grew up with, though rich. To see these men play international cricket and score a test 100 or a double 100 is unbelievable. If you see what we're working with compared to what other people are working with, it's unbelievable. It is truly incredible for somebody to basically just coach himself. Not saying, the coach is doing a good job, but with less and none of that kind of extra preparation is almost a miracle. So I have a great level of respect for that. And at no point in time don't want to cry down where it come from. Right? It's all about we trying to improve it in a comparative sense. And then to your point about asking, like working with them, obviously, something I'm obviously very aware of is I never want to attach myself to an athlete to look like if you're claiming credit for them, right? I don't feel a coach should ever do it. So I believe, you know, if I coach, if me and Clint, if I was Clint coach and Clint going to score 100, the first boy to talk about it should be Clint. The last boy to talk about it should be Clint. I should not be in the media saying, yeah, you know what I mean, I work with Clint saying hell on it. Because if that I gotta come out and say it's my fault too. Right?
Correct.
You can't take the credit and not want to take the blame.
Yeah,
And
goes both
ultimately,
ways.
we understand in a sport like cricket, coaching is one part that's important, or psychology and nutrition. But ultimately, as a cricketer, in a track and field where you just run, you gotta make a decision on ball after ball after ball after ball against you. It's played by yourself way out there. So the credit is the players, the blame is the players. That's for them. So I just want to make that disclaimer. So to say that I'm working with Steve Smith or Marnus or whatever, it's like I doing that for them. I just doing my job.
I understand.
Right, but you always gotta put this guy next one.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
So, but the piece around that, or one of the things I noticed with some of the greatest performers across everybody's want this miracle thing, or what is this do? Is visualization or meditation, or the men that do the best over a long period of time is work the hardest, or the women. That they have different things that individual about them for sure. Like, you'll find somebody who's much more relaxed player, right? Once they train, them looking to get away from cricket, this one chill and play on game day. Then you'll find another person, and this is documented. So this isn't me saying then, new like Steve Smith or Mars, they may love cricket. They may love eat cricket for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? Everybody ain't like that, but the hard work is the minimum. Everybody got like Virat Kohli, hard work is the minimum. These men got to work harder than everybody else. You gotta be fit in this day and age. You gotta get your mental game strong. So you may pay attention. Your preparation must be outstanding. All the best players, the best consistent players. No, somebody might got a lot of talent. I have a great series. You know what I mean? I'll have a great game. But to do it over and over and over again, because as well as I do, once you become good, what the next, you score 500 runs against me in the series. The next time we play you, that we spend enough time talking about you.
Yeah.
And what shots you like, and what shots you doing like, and where you score, and where you don't score. So the thing about those great players, they're always staying a step ahead. They're going, all right. I play against, Steve Smith played against England, I think it was 2018, 17, 18 Ashes. And man just ball wide in the first set. He man just ball wide for 3 days. All of them on the ball like, he said, all right, ball out there. Bob then, well, can't get me out. And eventually, I had to, man score 140. They take 350 balls. And then you know what to change from that. They said, well, that ain't working. So now we can try and get LBW. Or my man picking them off. So they just have any plans. When people go to a plan A, plan B, plan C, I think the best players understand their A game really well, but they know how to adjust to the next player. Not too stubborn to know I got to tweak sometimes, but you got a strong belief in what works for you. And I just say it's a minimum requirement to work hard and train and pay attention to detail. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, you man. I totally agree. Nothing
Peter,
beat hard work.
Peter,
Um,
I love a deep dive. Appreciate your time that you're coming on. But in terms of the women, like there were some pretty legendary Australian women cricketers that you are in company with, and then obviously we had the pandemic. No, this is really, and then you had pandemic, sports open up, but it was in a bubble. This is where people's mental was really being tested. How you and your psychologist, how you were able to help these players navigate through this time because you're in a bubble, you can't leave, you're just locked down, you're going to the ground, back
The
to the room,
family.
no family, right? So how were you able to help these players navigate through this time?
Right. That was a good question. Excuse me. The last couple of years, as you mentioned, so what? I think 2020, we had a Women's World Cup here in Australia. 2020 World Cup. We had 86,000 people at the NCG. Right? That is the best experience I ever had in professional sport. And we beat India. India beat us in the round game. And then we beat them in the final 86,000 people cheering. I never seen the experience like that. For a women's game, normally we'll get we expect the smaller stadiums, the boutique grounds with 2,000 and 3,000 people. But 86,000 people played it again. That was fantastic. 2 weeks after that, no, not even 2 weeks. I was we were meant to go to South Africa after about 3 or 4 days after we started
Yeah,
hearing
correct. It got shut down.
right now take it off. And so there's a lot of uncertainty for a period of time. Like people are not understanding. The first thing people thinking is people can lose money. What's gonna happen if we don't play a series? And that's obviously where people start thinking about their livelihoods. But once that settled and they came back to a we can play cricket again, but we playing in these bubbles. And as you say, it was very strange because you understand different sports. For example, like let me use some in Australia. So in Australia, they got rugby league, rugby union, and AFL and soccer, right? Or we call it football, they call it soccer. I didn't say soccer because everything in Australia is football, Then it's called rugby football, then it's called rugby union football, then it's called AFL football, and soccer, and then it's called football soccer, right? So I was gonna say soccer when I talking about it. But all those sports basically you'll play a home game and you'll play a away game within the state that you're from. So I'm from Queensland. I play for Queensland. I can play around in Queensland. I can stay home with my family, all that, and then I can go to New South Wales for a few days, play the game, come back home. So you spend most of your time at home in your house with your dog or your family, whatever it is, go to your cafe, see your friends. Then you appreciate now that international cricket, you be on the road in men's team, be on the road for 9-10 months a year. Because even when you're in Australia, you might play one test in your home state, but then you go into all the other states, so you're on the road again. So and then when you not playing domestic tour, you're playing international on the road as in a different country. Now normally, men's and women's, normally you will have the ability to bring your family along if you want, right? So you can bring your wife or your children or your husband, whatever it be, to spend some time and get that little ease. Because as you will know, the pressure is high. You worry about the pressure of selection, the pressure to perform, and this without COVID and just in general. Pressure to perform, pressure of selection, media scrutiny, all that kind of stuff that is really wear you down. So you gotta think about how do I put the energy back in? And normally that would be, hey, let me go for a game of golf. Let me go and relax with my family. And I can go for a walk and eat at a restaurant. That's your normal thing. Now with COVID, all those pressures were still there. But what happened is now, can't go and play golf. Can't get in the gym nowhere. Can't bring your family, right? Or if your family come now, they go like it's not just the bubble. Before you get into the bubble now, you isolated for 7 days, 10 days, and the rules in Australia was stiff. And then not just that, if you go overseas now and you come back, 14 days hard quarantine, 2 weeks hard quarantine, cannot leave the hotel room. So that was what Australia's, up until last in December, whenever it was last year, that was the rule. So your pressures are the same, but now your releases or your avenues where you will recover, a lot of those got taken away. And then you quarantine it. So people, you tell my family, come and spend 5 days with me and then go quarantine for 2 weeks. And people got jobs and things like that. So it really was about understanding, all right, we are not going to have our plan A of how we normally recharge and recover. Right? So what within these new restrictions can we use? Whether that be things that you could bring to the room, rather know, hey, look, I don't normally bring my PlayStation for 12, but I gotta bring it. And that gonna allow me to not just play a game and relax, but I can stay connected with other people. I can play with Jason or New Raw or Akeem. Okay, I can play. So that might be one thing. The other things are going like, making sure you got your technology ready to communicate with back home. Or within what we got, how do we make the best of it? Team room, or we can get a team room. Let me make sure we play table tennis every day. Let me make sure we use the functions that we have. So it's really about going whatever your plan A to recharge and recover, how do you get your plan B? And then the next piece was an understanding or acceptance that we may not get. So let me use the analogy of charging your cell phone, right? I charge my cell phone overnight, you get 100%, and I can operate off my phone and use it for the whole day before I charge it again. Now, we understand because you don't have your best case recovery, it might not be a family, it might not be a run, it might not be tennis. It's PlayStation and it's going for a small walk and it's getting a takeaway. You can't sit at a restaurant. Your cell phone might not charge to 100. So we might be operating at 70. So by the time this series done, you might be at 10%. You don't got much to give, you're quiet, you burn out. But that's where you might be at the end of the series, but you just gonna maintain enough charge to play the game, do your job, and then recover the best you can. So I get about to 70%, and then when I charge my phone again, the best I get back to 50%, and then 40%. But by the end of the tour, as long as I ain't on red, that's a win, and I could go and perform. So is that understanding of what allows you to recharge the best that you can? Now, everybody is different in that regard. So yeah, we might have a team, things that we're doing as a team to kind of recharge, but it's really telling individuals, you know yourself and how you work. Let's map out a plan of what it's gonna look like. For some people, that takes more work. And for your experienced campaigners, they say, yeah, man, you got it covered.
Peter, what's the beauty about that? A lot of the guys did more vlogging, as they would call it. Like Pat Cummins started a YouTube channel, so then was taking on the journey. Like he had these little clips that fellas, I got quarantine. Let me do a little workout. in the room, I think room small. So then I used to tell myself, I don't know how man could do prison JS. You and your host, you host, and you can't left your host. Imagine a 6 by 6 cell with a bed, nothing, ain't got no access to nothing. Can't. So mentally, it was good. I think the pandemic brought it was good and bad. It allowed the fans to see a different side of these guys. They get more backstory into the life. They was doing more Q&A to the Instagram, the Facebook, the Twitter. There was engaging, and it allowed, it helped. It was a pathway. It was a pathway for both, I would say. And we know hearing you talk, yes, we understood why some cricketers opt out of certain tours because of the bubble fatigue. Because you said like Australia rules was stiff. Like if I tell you laugh and you meant 14 days.
Correct.
So spend the Ashes in England. So you was out for 3 months in England. Then you had to come back. Missing your family or come out to do a whole 14 days before you could see them. I hope that you don't test positive because that's additional time you spending away, and especially if you got a little child, like you can have that. So it's good that you were able to lend some sort of assistance or help guys find a niche to stay. Because realistically, a lot of normal people didn't cope well. You had suicides, I think, were up like statistically worldwide. Suicides, domestic violence, because people were finding were not coping.
Yeah.
So hopefully now coming out of the pandemic, we realize that I think there's a cultural thing now that we need to stop take no pride and just acknowledge that if you want help, everybody's want help at some point in time. Your mental health is just as important as your physical health. We need to get to that point now that once you protect your mental health, your physical health and well-being come along with it. And I think athletes need to, and this is in general, athletes need to invest. Like they need to invest in themselves. I honestly believe that if you invest in yourself, you will go far in whatever sport you're in. You got a discipline and fortitude to say, well, this is the road I can take and this how you want it to be, and set out to do it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly, man. You gotta do work. And you mentioned something, a word that I should have mentioned. You beat me to the punch, but coping, right? So what we spoke about is how do you cope in an adaptive manner, just functional, effective coping. That instead of turning to alcohol or instead of turning to gambling because you're bored. How do I functionally cope in a way that's helpful or effective for me? That was a big one. And then you touched on something else. When you saw how people was doing it tough, like when pandemic first hit, I tell myself, boy, like, oh my job. Like, that's the first thing that comes to your mind. You got bills to pay, you got family to support. Like, it becomes very real. This is not a word of a lie, right? Because when at university, I had a book. You know what I mean? Like, once you pay student fees, and obviously my family helping me pay the fees. I can't pay the, 10,000 or where I can get that money from when I was 18. Your family sacrificing to help you to pay fees. I do a little job to pay my rent and do whatever coaching cricket. I eating, ramen noodles and tuna, all that. Like, I don't want to use my mother credit card for nothing. You're holding on. My mother doing everything for me. I don't want to use that card to buy food. So you're eating a week. Man, I tell you, I know like 1 week I'd have waited for my paycheck to come from coaching, right? I fell over at work like thing. He's a good friend of mine, but real, casual with money. So at times where I go to the canteen at school and I praying card, we think all money, I got food in my hand, no joke. Cafeteria got rice and chicken. Got food in my hand, $10. Swipe my card, praying, decline. This I know they got the money on there. They tell you one minute, I count, my card is giving trouble. Let me go ATM and come back. I left the food on the counter and go home. Just remember that days as a uni student. And then also when the pandemic hit, because now we got a job and you're living all right. Now I don't mind spending money on food out and get a little Uber Eats. My mother always tell you don't feel bad about spending money on food. Man, let me tell you what, when the pandemic hit and we start hearing about tours getting canceled, the first thing I do, I went to shop and I buy beer wheat bix, ramen noodles, and tuna. I start digging into uni mode here. If I lose my job, I dig into uni mode. Let's say all that to say, in terms of working with players, and the gratitude is also important. It ain't about being you gotta meditate on that. So, but just to be able to appreciate the perspective of going, you let me look back when they sick of quarantine. I've done over 100 days of quarantine, right? In the last 2 years. And when they getting sick of quarantine and things like that, or you batting away, or whatever it is, I just remember, you know what? For 2 weeks there, they're looking to eat ramen noodles and tuna. So let me just be grateful that I got a job, with money coming in. You can help support your family, you can support yourself, and that's also something that's very real. As you said, people committed suicide, people losing their jobs. So to keep that perspective, you know what? I am very lucky to have the opportunities I have. That has also helped me cope, I believe.
Wait, one last thing, Peter, before I let someone jump in. When the COVID first come up, you honestly thought, honestly thought, man, this ain't just 2 weeks and blow, but cause Ebola was like the same thing. It was like, oh Lord, there's again. Ebola blow over and we going back to normal. 2 weeks, turn into a month, 2 years later, 2 years going on the road, and
Man,
it's
never,
just
never in life I would have believed this. And let me tell you something, right? We had so me and nine of my friends. So two of my fellas from back home, Romans and Scotty, and then 8 fellas, well 7 fellas plus myself. Yeah, they got this thing named whatever you heard this thing named Yacht Week. They got this thing in Europe named Yacht Week, right? So you book out a yacht. I mean, and at the time when we booked that, I was single. But I'm no longer single. So Brittany, if you watch this was long before we met. You know. So he man got the yachts. I mean, when you see these videos, right? I mean, just girls, good-looking girls in bikini, and it's for like for 18 is for you got a lot of money to spend for the thing. All that it was about. Let me say it would be about 2,500 Barbados dollars for a weekday. You're traveling to different islands for a week on this yacht, everything paid for. So he man save up now. We man talking about this every year. That year my 30th, and one fellas married, so he bucks weekend. Oh, this thing that we plan out. And that was June 2020. So imagine, he man organized leave from work, everything, So he man put in this money. I demand that, he man send me the money, I pay any money. So this thing hit March 2020, and like you said, tell myself, all right, this is gonna be a little, 2 week warm up. Next day, you're wait. Australian government ban international travel. It may come 6 months. So all know about it to try and get my money. I would not let you. I had about a 4 or 5 month battle with these people. I get any terms and conditions go up there like highlighting fucking what people are gonna do. The people are gonna talk. Australia have banned. Then talking about if you still want travel, you could go on the thing, right? They had to cancel the cruises or whatever. But the Australian government banned us from traveling. You could not leave the country. So I called that and man saying, look, we can't make a trip. They told me, you could get a refund credit, and then you could, you do your week later. Well, first things first, listen, I ain't single no more, so ain't not big a deal to me. Secondly, you may can't line up work. You know what I mean? Like there's a once in a lifetime, you may line up work, vacation, everything. So I said, I don't want a refund credit. I want my refund. I want my money. The man talking about if we cancel, we can lose 40%. Like the terms, 40% of your money, and you get about 60. When? No, never yet. So I go on terms and conditions. I search and I find this thing about pandemics and endemics and words I don't understand. Highlight that sanity. But I battle for 5 months. And you know what? Eventually, I go into the man parent company, fair trading commission, all this. Eventually, these people they say, you know what? This man is not worth the trouble. So long story short, I never thought it would last more than 2 weeks. But once I realized it, I didn't battle in more than panic mode.
Send the disclaimer again. Like disclaimer, no send out there because you might come in and back and let you know. This was before.
I actually just got a message. She messaged me off. I'm watching. I love you, buddy. I would never get out of your week, man. Pandemic or not.
Continue with story time because we could talk stories about Peter till I don't know next week.
True, that is true.
First of all, he was my school captain, very first school captain. And what I would say about Peter is one of the most influential people. And I'm sure that all of his friends will say the same thing. As you can see, his house was the hub. He's the man. He talk about people paying any money to him. He's always that man. right? And he's always been that person. He would have been influential to me, as a youngster coming up to school. People used to carry me to trust, all kind of things. I don't know if you even remember all of that, but all that kind of things he used to do. So a top man for sure. And secondly, passion for cricket and match. Peter, Adam's your brother, right? Adam's your brother, right?
Yeah, Adam's my eldest brother. Yeah.
We used to call them cricket paros. Let me tell you something about Peter, right? We were playing again at QEA. It's probably against St. Michael's. And Peter was running late. I don't know. I ain't sure what was the reason that he was running late.
Domino's go up there, man. Wait, see, I see the clock.
So Peter running late for cricket. I can't remember who was vice captain or whatever at the time. So he called into the ground to make sure to see what's going on, this and that, blah blah. The toss. I think Peter was opening. Or yeah, you have to be opening batting. Opening batting then for sure. So toss get flipped, the man ain't at the ground yet, cricket about to start at 10 minutes time. So I obviously know the man at back behind tree. This man is captain. Everybody I love and sleep panic mode and all kind of thing. Peter Clarke turned out at cricket, right? Where the umpires not about to walk on the field, and this man was padded up inside his vehicle to walk onto the field. Kid you not. So, man passion for cricket, unreal.
You can't go up there. You can finish the story. I met 100 go up there. You forget how?
I didn't make 100.
I thought you really telling stories.
Yeah, come on, Clint. Well, you had to add that in, Clint.
So I just pause for dramatic effect.
Okay.
Nah, seriously, a top man, a real top man. Serious passion for the game. Proper leader. And like I said, I was influenced by Peter. Peter really set the standards for Queen's College cricket, and he spoke a lot about us achieving. When I say talking about in the region, achieving a lot with minimum resources. As you know, at Queen's College, it was real minimum resources. Like
we never have a pavilion,
pitch, all kind of things.
Right? That pavilion built?
No, but it's built, but ain't 100% finished.
Make it turn out into a surgical studio, man.
Yeah, so you know what I mean. So yeah, man. But Peter, I just wanted to. I don't want to get you into trouble or anything. You obviously good enough to maneuver around certain things, but just like you're trying to understand a little bit more of the activities. Like, okay, I got so much questions, right? And like I said, we're going forever. But in terms of like preparation for tours, is it work that is being done for the group? And this is not you personally, but you spoke about the network. But is this work that is done? The majority of your work is done as for the team in general. Is it team focus? Is it player focus? Is it a mixture of both? What happens leading up to the series varies from what happens maybe on tour or in the middle of a tournament. Just some insight into the nitty-gritty. Like I said, we also don't need the finer details, but just like what it kind of looks like.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. I remember when I was home in June, I was breezing with Jace, Shea, and Brief, and they were asking, me, because I think the fellas have a gentleman that comes in and does some work with them as well. Right. I can't remember his name now. God Drice, nice fella. But they'll ask me, what is it that you actually do? And that's a good question, because I feel even before I was studying sports psychology, I had an idea of what I wanted to do, but I didn't know what you really do on a day-to-day basis. And I believe, and it is also one of those fields, right? Let me say you use a doctor or a physiotherapist. If you get a bad doctor, you've got to get another doctor. You get a bad physiotherapist, you must have another. Somebody break the foot, get hamstring. You must work on that. It's very tangible. Whereas the work that a sports psychologist does is less tangible, right? And people will often say things. I know a lot of coaches here say, I would rather have no sports psychologist than have a bad one. So my preference is I have a good one, no psychologist than a bad one. So is that kind of that feel where if you don't got a good one, people will almost do without. Versus you can't do with a physiotherapist, you can't do without a doctor, you can't do without a coach. So because of that, the mythical or kind of airy fairy nature of what it is, I feel as a sports psychologist, you must be able to describe clearly the areas that you can bring benefit in. You don't oversell. You don't want to say, "Oh yeah, I will do this if I come your players," because that's taking credit for somebody else thing. But what are the areas? So if I was to describe those areas, the first area you work into is mental health, right? So over here in Australia, when you qualified as a sports psychologist, or if you're qualified as a psychologist and you did a master of sport and exercise psychology, which is what I did, you are also qualified as a general psychologist. So you can go and work with the general population, deal with depression or anxiety or just day-to-day things, right? So you're qualified in that. So mental health is the first part of it. I know it's getting more airtime in Barbados these days, I suppose, with the internet and different things. But just the idea that in terms of mental health, it's just like physical health. You're all on a scale somewhere, right? So I like to talk about baseline. Let me say baseline is 0, right? If I function at baseline, that means I'm fine. Now, from baseline, I could go all the way to flourishing, right, or excelling in terms of my mental health. And from baseline, it could be below the line too. But when you think about psychopathology like depression and anxiety and, your more severe things like schizophrenia or whether it be an eating disorder or burnout, those are all below the line. And then above the line is your athletes who are performers who excel at the highest level. They are flourishing. But that's the scale. We are all somewhere on the scale. Whereas when people hear of mental health, they feel, okay, that's people that below the line. Right? So that's the first thing. You're looking after mental health. Some people are below the line, and it's about helping them manage whatever it is, get to baseline from a functioning standpoint, and then looking to flourish. Some people will be below the line and performing really well in sports, but the rest of their personal life is not going well. And I like to say to people all the time, especially if you study in the brain or whatever it is, you only get one brain. People that's at as though you get a sports brain and then a personal life brain or brain for you got one brain. If my brain is not if I'm not sleeping over a long period, it will affect my performance, right? If I don't have any social connections or meaningful friendships, when I struggling, that can cause me to not cope as well. All those things matter. So that's the first area. Working in people's mental health, making sure people have a good plan. They're either looking to work towards flourishing or you're looking to get them out of business. So that's one. The next part of it will be performance, right? Now that performance will go at a group level and an individual level. And again, it's not that you making it up for them or you're doing it for them, but you're working into that space. So as a team performance, can you help the coaches and the support staff and the leaders identify, they will set up the captain and the coach of cricket, they determine where the group going. So they have that idea and you can ask the right questions. You work into that space. And once they say that, you think of, okay, how can I break it down to help contribute to building the skills that we want to go in as a group? And then at an individual level, each person has their own performance, needs. So I like to talk about a cycle of, every event or whatever it is you do, you have 3 phases to it, right? You got before, during, and after. Every event you do. So it could be this podcast that we're doing now. You follow the podcast or vlog, whatever it is.
Podcast.
Yeah. So they got before. Before they say what's important. Before any event, preparation. So before this, I have brushed my teeth before I go here. I comb my hair. I put lotion on my face, right? And if my legs get made in picture too, I can put lotion on them too, but the legs in a picture. So preparation is important, right? Cool. Then once you in the actual thing, you performing, you got in cricket in particular, you got to do problem solving and then execution, right? So I have to make decisions quickly. Was the field, was the run rate, blah, 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 and execution. So in order for me to do that successfully, I need to build a routine, right? I need to build a routine that allows me when I want to be paying attention to, okay, between balls, I can pay attention to the field, I can regulate my emotions, I can switch off. Then when the ball coming down, the only thing that matters is the ball. So I can build a routine to allow me to regulate my attention and my emotions so I can make good decisions and problem solve, right? I execute. So before is preparation, during is that process around problem solving and execution, and then after is the thing that we probably do the worst. How do I reflect accurately, right? I want to reflect accurately on what's going on because that reflection can lead into my next preparation. And for example, the results, we know cricket is a result sport, but the results don't always tell you how well you played. One day you can go out there and you can back shite and you can play and miss 7 or 8 times, play 4 or 5 bad shots early and get away with it. You might make 80. And the next day you might make no mistakes, right? And get to 20, you batted beautifully and one just hit the seam, nip out, and you're out. So if I was to reflect on those 2 performances and I just go over the results, which is what we're inclined to do, without 80, I go, yeah, my score 80. What about sweet? And so I don't change my preparation or my decision making or my process, but I can get found out because I did not bat sweet. I played some poor shots and I got lucky. And then the next thing, if I made 20 or I made 2 scores under 10, right? And all of a sudden I bad it bad. But I might literally get one bad decision and get 2 good balls or the game situation where I had a swipe. I should not be changing anything in my preparation because everything is fine in my preparation. But because I made 3 low scores, now I'm trying to hit more balls and I'm trying to work on reverse sweep. So your reflection, how do I reflect accurately on something? That's really important. So instead of just my emotions or the results, I want use some vision or some statistics or talk to the coach. So I want to have a network of people where I can have a robust reflection. So before, during, after, preparation, problem solving, execution, and reflection. These are things that you want to master. So that in the performance space or work into that space with individuals and with the team. Some people again have more answers already and they just want to tweak a few things. Some people are building that out from scratch. Right. So you got mental health, you got performance, you got team dynamics and team culture. So you work into that space again. If you're the captain and the coach in cricket to set that tone. And then you will help build into that, right? So you might facilitate a value session with the group or trademarks or whatever it is, or you might take notes and just point out observations. But team culture and dynamics, or the coach might say, "Man, I don't know how to communicate with Jace. When Jace is not going well, I feel like I try to give him motivation, but it goes the wrong way. How do I chat with him?" So it might be that individual kind of team dynamics or team culture. And then the final thing that I would say we work into is just that operational or organizational effectiveness, right? And a great mentor of mine, like Michael Lloyd, he used to kind of map it out like this for me. So in your organization, or in the team that you're working in, how is it you helping the staff to make good decisions when you're planning for a tour, to take psychology into consideration, to take recovery into consideration, take preparation time, make the strength conditioning coach. How do you just work together as an organization to make sure we're planning correctly? So Clint, to your point before, when you lead into a series, what are the factors we take into consideration? How about recovery time? How about preparation? How about this? How about that? And then putting the psychological spin on it. And when you get to tour, it's more managing what happens then. So before the tour, you make your plan A, plan B, plan C. And then you go on tour, you must respond to what happens in front of you. You go on a tournament. So give an example. We got analysts. He can tell us, you play at this ground. These are the average score. Usually back first save, both whatever. But then you get to the ground now, and you make it playing completely different. So now we must adapt. Right? So that's what you do in tour. You adapt. We go on a tournament and everything rolling, you're winning all your games. You might just keep rolling and flowing. I don't do too much. You lose your 2 or 3 first games, there might be more work to do. So you do your preparation beforehand, and then once you get there, you must adapt to what comes. So to just simplify that down to 4 things: mental health and well-being, performance at the team and the individual level, team dynamics and culture, and then that operational kind of effectiveness. That's how we describe it.
Yeah, spot on, brilliant.
Sorry, I rambled on there for about 15 minutes.
No, I didn't ramble. That was
it's amazing, but we respect
It's
beautiful.
Just, I feel like it was in a lecture just now. Your mind just there, break. I didn't get rid of it. Every man talk for 5 more minutes. I would have had the pen on paper, just making notes. Right? Listen, come on, please, no.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
I got a few questions for you here, mate.
Right,
the first one, you spoke about the World Cup final, the women's World Cup final.
Right.
I want you to that was the highlight of your on the women's aspect. Give me one from the men's aspect though.
You said from the men's team, a highlight?
For a highlight, I'm wanting you else again.
Obviously, plenty has been happening in the men's team space recently. I'm sure you guys been following the news and seeing all the changes and different things like that. But I would say, so when I was, so Marnus, right? Marnus plays in the same competition from Queensland. We played the same competition. When he was a proper youngster, we played against each other. And we used to beat up on it all the time, right? I could beat a lot of success over a long period of time. We used to beat up on them. And I remember when he first came in, we used to blame him when we played against him. Because I tell you, this man love cricket. Man love cricket. I think we used to whip it, climb into it, all that. So to see him develop, over a period of time, and then see him score, his first set of runs and to be there, that was a full circle kind of moment for me because it took me on a journey to go, well, you used to play against this man. Obviously he's a far better player than I ever was. But you used to play against this person and to just see him play at that level and then to recognize my journey to go, you know what? you took a different route to, to be where you are, but you're here in the Australian men's team. I feel like that was a real highlight. And in terms of a team highlight, I would say in the Caribbean, when we were just there, obviously we had beaten the T20s pretty bad with a really inexperienced squad.
Yeah, let me know. Let me know. Just play disclaimer. Let me know.
Okay. Nine people already starting 11 were potentially not there, but it's not a big deal. Whoever only popped off there, right? So, but when we went to Kensington and we played the one-day games at Kensington, and again, this is not the Kensington that I remember growing up. Like Kensington is spinning big and slow and all this kind of thing. But we won that series 2-1 with a bunch of young fellas, and a lot of those guys. Remember I told you I started working halfway. So a lot of those guys I saw when they were coming through on the 19 or National Performance Squad or Australia A, and then to see those guys do well and win those games, because West Indies at home are a good side. It won't surprise me if West Indies just beat England in the 1920s. England pretty much full strength. It won't surprise me if we beat England in the test. West Indies are still a good side at home. So to see those fellas, again, with all the COVID bubbles and losing so bad in the T20s, and there's a lot of media scrutiny, as you guys will understand. But to see them win that ODI series, that was a highlight for me. Again, because you had an opportunity to observe them before, and a lot of guys on their first international tour to do well. So I would say that was a highlight. Whenever you get opportunity to see people grow and develop, that to me is more meaningful than even the mercenary piece, because I feel as if you have not more to do in terms of claiming their success, but you have more investment or understanding of their journey, versus if I was to say go and work with a team, hop in for one tournament, never worked with them before, and then win. How much that got to do with me? Probably not much. Maybe you put out a couple of fires or you help manage a couple of situations, but you weren't invested in that process. So yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And another one, compare home here. And no, Barbados could probably fit Australia 2 million times. But compare, give me a comparison to life here and life over there. Is any similarities, a vast difference? What? And then it still got Beijing, every part of the world. You ever bought any? I got a partner that married to a Serbian, and he said when he spent some time in Serbia, and he saw three black people, himself and two others. So like, you ever bought any other Beijings in Australia or anything like that?
Well, that's a good question. I can put a disclaimer, Brittany. This was long before I met you as well. So, I went to university in 2009, and so it was February or March 2009. And so they had this bit, I was a confident, you're a confident fella. I never think I get home sitting on that, I went to Australia, I was 18. I didn't know a boy. I know a single person. So I was staying in a hostel. I didn't even know what a hostel was. I only know about a hotel. I heard about a hostel. Anyway, I go and stay in this room. We got 3 men staying in the room with me. So I left your bag lock, all kind of share showers and all kind of weird things. I ain't sharing a shower with nobody. So I wait till everybody gone. I ain't about that bed. I bed in with the boy. I was nasty. So we go on an orientation week now. I there for about a week, and I started to feel a little homesick. I remember going out to this massive auditorium. And I went UE for a semester before I left. UE relatively, we think it's big, but compared to these, it's relatively small. I see a building that was about as big as UE, right? So we're going in there now, and that's orientation just for the international students. So at the university itself, I think they got like 47,000. I'm making out this number, but they have about 45,000 students or whatever, and about 20,000 of them international students. Because obviously international students paying big money to come overseas, right? Paying more money than locals. So we're going to this big hall for auditorium, and man, they're calling up the countries you're from, right? So they're going down the order. Obviously Barbados early, and so they say, whatever it is, I can't remember Austria. The only name I can think of with an A. Whatever it is, by going like a Barbados early doors. We got our first ever student from Barbados, the kind of University of Queensland. So, I get now, and you're standing up, from that country. So I stand up now, and I see down, and I top it or turning back, and I see somebody right down the bottom, stand up at the same time. So and there's a girl, a right-skinned girl, look very pretty. So we stand up at the same time. Now, obviously, you met us, and see, and name out. I guess we got 2 students from Barbados. Everybody clap level. So after now, I gone up, I talked to the girl, and I was 18 at the time. Her name was Alicia, and I say, wait, you from Barbados? She's like, no, I'm from Jamaica. So you stand up when it's in Barbados? She got a Barbados passport. She was born in Barbados, lived in Jamaica. So she thought that, that she's Barbados, but whatever it is. So anyway, I told her like, and she said, it's just a chat. She said, boy, behave yourself, boy. Like, she's 27. Like, behave yourself, boy. You could be my child. I shot my shot and I get shot down. But we actually ended up living together for the first year, you know what I mean? So anyway, as you say, you'll find a Bajan anywhere. She was born in Barbados. But to answer your question, I ain't asked you a question. Living in Australia versus living in Barbados. I mean, they have some similarities in terms of, obviously, as you guys know, Barbados is a very laid back, relaxed place, very social. So it's not quite that social, but for the big countries, and even in Australia, compared to Sydney and Melbourne, it's called Brisbane like a big country town. That's what they say, it's quite relaxed in terms of compared to other big cities, which I like. And other thing about Australia in general, they love West Indians, right? If you find because they revere that time in the 80s when we used to beat them up. So Dave and Clyde Lloyd and all Joe Garner back, they may love the West Indies team of the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s. They love West Indies team. So anybody find out you from the West Indies, they love you, right? Because of that cricket aspect. They don't have a lot of other black people around. There's a lot of people from Asia, India and those kind of places around here because it's close to that side of the world. But I've met, I actually had 2 other Bajan fellas that came to university while I was there. I did the master's program, but then it's only Bajans I've met while I've been in Brisbane. The quality of life is fantastic. Clean, like place clean. You don't see in Australia, you don't see garbage nowhere. You not see garbage, not inside the road, not say, man, look after the place. Always, even in the cities and stuff, you got trees. You can't get away without seeing trees on parks and public parks. And they got these public gyms outside, they pull up bar and all that. So they look after the place really well. The place is very clean. They take a big pride in how they present the place, and they love nature. So the difference, that's different in Australia now. I mean, animals here do not have any respect for people. Birds be attacking you. I think you got bird name of I could not believe it the first time in Australia, and I just walking comfortable and casual. Next thing, like right here, I look on a bird. They actually try to peck out my eye. Still walking around, so I got the bird now. Long time. I got my bag waiting bought the bird. Everybody looking at me like I was an idiot. Everybody walking bird. Cool. That's a magpie. We're going next bird name of plover. And these things is lay the eggs on the ground, Like that's almost on cricket fields. Men don't have no respect for no reason. They ain't going to cricket fields. And I walking past, and plovers attack me too. So many birds attack me. Right, so you gotta get used to animals. You got a bird that ever attack me in Barbados. You attack someone in Barbados, you will get killed. But the bird, you cannot do that to the animals here. Birds can attack you. You can't get a slingshot and deal with one of them. Do that, you'll probably get in jail. Right, so that's another difference. And I mean, bush turkeys, it just be really saying that bush turkeys, they be walking about the place. Like you be at university, I used to be at canteen. Bird jump on the table. A bird turkey jump on the table there right next to you, just chilling out. They're fighting for people. These big ass, they just call them water dragons, look like an iguana. I don't know what a man is with birds and tails. I ain't about that. I don't need desk and thing, like I need I canteen. Walking by people's foot and people ain't even flinch here. I got both my feet up in chairs and all that. It took me a while to deal with the animals, you know what I mean? But now I would say and they snakes. I mean, man, don't be fighting for snakes and things. What are you talking about? Like, that's just a man talking. That's just a carpet snake. This thing's as big as you know. You like when them, you like to have them in your because it's getting people rooms and things. Some it's good because they eat you rats. I don't like rats, but if I gotta choose between an anaconda and a rat, we feel like put on a rat poison you with them. Spiders and all kind of things, boy. Like man got spiders that's so big. They just so big spider named a huntsman. The big ones bigger than your head. I talking about the body bigger than your head, and there's got legs coming from every. I mean, it'd be cool. Man, don't be frightened for these things. I used to live in constant fear when I first. I hang up my clothes outside. And at university, what dry what?
I gotta dry.
I never use a dishwasher in my life. I never hear about dry, but now I must get dry because Brittany now lives and my fiance. I got engaged in January. Surprise!
Congratulations!
Brittany said, "What's all this hanging out clothes thing?" we must get dry. So I still got get dry. I used to hang up my clothes. I'm a man now, want to hang up my clothes, and I like earn them out with that, and I spider double. I drop my shirt over the balcony. Felt it way down there, the spiders on it. So I used to live in a lot of fear of the animals, but over a period of time now, mostly because I don't want to look embarrassed, I've become accustomed to all this. I still can't deal with snakes, right? And I tell you one more story. So these things don't happen in Barbados. I remember one night I was sleeping, and for whatever reason, I dropped sleep in the opposite direction of my bed head, right? So my feet, I had a bed. I was living with a partner of mine at the time named Benny, a fellow named Benny. So now, because it's got all these animals and things, a lot of these places got like fly screens, you know what I mean? So you open your window and they got your fly screens, so the flies or mosquitoes can't come in. But just really open your window, they got a little hole, you push your hand through and open your window. So and I got my windows open, right? So again, when I I can't afford an air conditioning. So you open up your windows. So I go to sleep now, the wrong direction for whatever reason. You think you dream every week, I hear this rustling, like this rustling underneath my bed. Fuck is that all? You hear this rustling again. So I do so that I put my head my bottom of my bed and look down my man. And these men call this a possum. You think look like a bear, right? A possum like so
A possum.
as big, the thing about let me say like a third of a meter. Like think big fucking possum.
Yeah.
I front flip out of my bed now, going on my door. I can't touch this thing. Like it's like a massive rat that way, like a massive rat. Imagine how big this thing is. And I gotta stand off in my bedroom with this thing for 30 minutes. I went to a tiny hole. I can't get out. I got a broom. I poke a broom at it. I roll it, cricket balls at it, everything for this thing to go. And eventually, I hit it with a cricket ball, not hard. I ain't torture animal. I hit it with a cricket ball.
You gotta put out there. You gotta put out there. You gotta put out there.
And then eventually, long way with battery hole. So this way is not dealing with. Don't let your doors open. Don't let your windows open. Nothing like that. But other than that, you know what I mean? Like, it's a fantastic place to live. I enjoy it. I think the opportunity difference between one of the biggest difference between home and there, as you guys will know, all of us are educated and got friends who are educated, but you don't necessarily have the pathway. If I was home, I would not be a job I'm in because there's no jobs in that. You got no money in sports psychology. I got friends, master's degrees in different things, and they just go take a job to get a job. We'll appreciate that. So I feel there's a lot more opportunity here, a lot more scope for making money in different roles that's not the traditional one. But all in all, the thing I would say is similar is people are quite laid back. And I think people look after the place well, which we do in Barbados fairly well as well. But, the food is the biggest the thing that food and people is the thing that miss most home. Like in terms of the people, while they are friendly, is different to being home. And again, I don't know if things change. But you go to Subway or you go to the supermarket or something. You go to Subway, you go get something to eat, and girl put some food for you. It wasn't Subway. We used to have this place that we went in town. We used to go after school, me, Roms, and Khalid. And they give these subs, the girl are pretty. So how you feel. You say, my sweet girl, look at me, like bony as ever. You give me a little more, nah? Look so sweet. You joke around and say things like that. You
can't do that there.
What? Chris Gill got blamed when he said, don't black I understand, right? I understand why you come across as disrespectful them. But I try to explain to people like back home, a girl ain't women ain't like these helpless. What if the woman ain't body? She said, boy, behave yourself, boy. As if you got a chance. You know what I mean? Like women ain't these helpless, whatever. So, but over here that's not the same culture. So you can't, you can't joke around the same until you know somebody real good. Whereas back home you would say so a waitress at your restaurant, you will flirt and you will joke around. You can't do nothing like that. There, people are nice, but I feel you gotta get to really know somebody personally before you can start cracking jokes and saying things like that. Whereas back home, you would just do it, and it would get taken as a joke. And if not, the girl would curse you and you care, or whoever it is,
But Peter, honestly, right? Australia on my bucket list, because of the wildlife, right? But
What?
you see this
If you got white ancestors, do you understand? You want bungee jump, you want skydive. You talk about what?
But Peter, you see things with life, right? Peter, I tell you, man, you can be frightened, yes. But when you do it and you enjoy it, that's it. Yeah. Like the wildlife, it just be amazing how it is, but You know, one thing many people documentaries on the National Geographic with the wildlife and they show the prize, but there's also show you gloom and tell you, but hey, you know, whenever you
Right.
get bite, the nearest thing is X amount of things away. And so in our case, was the besides the possum, you ever encountered? Well, you do the beaches in Australia already, right?
Yeah, but you and I both know. I know you asked me about sharks. So let me tell you. I never hear about one of my be saying to me. I never hear about nobody eat by a shark in Barbados ever, right? Because nobody would never get to see again ever. So if you to go a few cover somebody eat by a shark and it's just in a drown or they gone missing. Because I know we would never get in beach again. So, but I have a rule though. Because let me tell you, when I was at university, I remember a good partner of mine, a fellow named Vivek, right? He's from India. I'm just from South Africa, but Indian descent. So his girlfriend had her, when it was 18 for 21st day. Whoever was 18. So we gone, right? And we go off on this like boat. We go off on this boat, we traveling, going with some shipwreck, whatever. So, first thing he from the got shot, so yeah. Like asking, nah, sharks, nah, that'll get cool. So now everybody jump in the water, and I have 20 people, everybody jump in the water, man, swimming about with snorkels and all this. And I ain't boat. Man, talking about if I can't swim, they feel now because there's a stereotype in America that black people can't swim. I thought, yeah, I can swim. I go on Barbados, I can swim, but I don't want to swim in there in case I don't like when you can't see below. You know what I mean? So anyway, eventually, all the peer pressure me, and I go in there swim like an idiot. So I go in there swimming now, and I swim the swim, but it's like shipwreck. The top of the shipwreck just out the water. And when we had got out the boat, it was about 10 meters from the boat, right there. So we going snorkeling and we looking like anything and then going boat. By the time we get back up now and stand by the boat, I looking to go back. The boat about 100 meters away from me. No, 100 meters away. It was 10, but it's just fucking floating. I thought anchor down, but obviously the anchor was enough chance. I said, I am not sitting back that would bring that boat and come for me. So we had to start off about 15 minutes. So the girl who birthed it had to swim for the boat and come. I kid you not, it's very embarrassing, but it's the truth. Hold my hand and swim with me back to the boat. I got one on the hand and my eyes closed. It's so fighting, boy. I just so fighting. You can't see, I just so fighting. And people get eaten by sharks. Like a gentleman, no joke, a fella got killed by a shark last week in Sydney. And obviously, it's tragic. And you get a few sharks out every year. Man, people here just are not afraid of it. They just aim for it. People be surfing and chilling out and cooling. I said, nah. When they get to the beach here, first they must be standing up. I'll never be the first person out, never the first person left, or the first person right. If a shark eat me, it's my time. You know what? I look at some chocolate here. I ain't get none of these men don't make water often. I want some chocolate. Yeah, I have to be my time. So yeah, I got a shark, and yeah, I'm very aware of them still to this day.
You watch enough Jaws and I think in your life to know that man the boats are adrift. What's come next?
My man, let me tell you something. I enjoy my animals, but just like you say, I love it on National Geographic. I want to see lions, like tigers, like snakes.
Correct. That's where I like it too. That's just where I like it. Correct. As close as I want to get.
But the snake I raised, 2 days ago. 19, no joke, 19 of the 21 most venomous snakes in the world live in Australia.
Yeah.
19, but they be out in the country and even people who live in the country, like brown snakes, super poisonous. Man, see them, man, pick them up by the tail. Man, Australians are not scared of wildlife.
I be both here dodging centipedes.
Centipede is a serious thing, boy. Don't say the centipede. Yeah.
Yeah. Any of the guys have any more questions for Peter?
Jaws,
One more.
Hit me.
You talk about you're a level 3 certified coach. Any dreams and aspirations of becoming an international coach, or you can stick to the psychology aspect of it?
I feel because I still obviously I still coach, over at University of Queensland, and that's a place that's very dear to my heart. That's my first friends and family, and as I said, when you're at university, they may used to look out for me. When you go on a Saturday, and I mean, man, a drink of rum is costing $10 a dinner. Can't buy that. How you gonna afford that? You'd be thinking about how you can eat. But it meant always the guy, you go and make it man, we'll buy you drinks and, make sure I got a place to stay for Christmas and all those kind of things. So they really looked after me well. Even a partner of mine, a fella nicknamed Duck. I remember one time, like your fees is be due at a certain point in time, it's a lot of money. So you be trying to put together and get your fees sorted, everybody, like family helping, mom trying to organize it. And then one time I was a little bit late. And I had it, so I just saying on that cricket. I just saying on that training one that like just to see that saying on my mind. And Doc come out to me and said, okay, no, I said, nah, cool, but everything's all right. He said, now tell me what's happening. So I told him the situation, and I was a couple of $1,000 short, and $20 short at the time. And the man just said, no problem. Man sent me the money just like that, same day. Right? Same day. He didn't tell me when I got paid back. Nothing. So I was able to pay him back very shortly because the money came through. But just the things like that, people really look after me at the club. So I feel my coach, I will always coach at the University of Queensland in some capacity once they're living in Brisbane, to give back because and then more than that, they may have done a lot for me. And so I still coaching there. And in terms of ambition to coach at a higher level, the thing with international cricket, as you would appreciate, the thing is being away from home for so long, that it has a shelf life. So for me, I certainly will not look to do anything like that. First, I don't think I will be able to get a job as an international coach yet. I feel that I've got to pay a lot more dues, do different things, in the pathway, coach at club, coach some state stuff or whatever. At this stage, I'm happy doing my psychology, but even I don't see myself trying to do any international coaching for, another 20 years. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be home more, as time goes on. You want eventually have children and settle down. I don't know how you can have a child be away for 10 months of the year. Well, I don't know. I don't know the West Indian woman who will put up with that there. I'm Brittany's from Florida. She live around West Indian people are all like, so she's kind of quasi West Indian, right? I mean, obviously for players it's different because you're making enough money that you would say you got a 10-year career or whatever, 50, and then you could stay home or do different things. Whereas, in a support staff job, well, you get paid well, you're still working your whole life, right? So I would feel
that fellas president of the cricket board in about 10, 15, fagging for you, man. Fagging you that contract.
When you get there, buddy, you talk to me, man. You talk to me. But I would say one day I would be interested in testing my skills at a high level for coaching. But right now I'm happy where I am. I'm doing as best I can in the psychology role.
All right, Mr. Clarke. On behalf of the guys, this was in the works for a while, negotiating behind the scenes, trying to get times aligned.
You better us in negotiating and let people feel like they get paid.
We're trying to align times behind the scenes for a while, man. So I just, on behalf of the guys, it's greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated. But before you go, is there anyone you would like to see on Bench Talk? Where you go hook us up with the plug? But again, let's start to think about that. I have one final question, so you can think about that person. But I just want to know, before you got any Australian gig, have you ever offered your services to Barbados or West Indies cricket?
In terms of offering my services in a professional capacity, no. When I was before I went to study, there was, but you guys know Barbados, so I don't want to come across the blind in the body. I don't know how to put it delicately. There was like they had a scholarship or whatever advertised in the paper, right? Let me say $100,000, whatever it was, but they had an application form. Right? So it's incredible. Anyway, but at the time, this before I went overseas to study, I had called, and I obviously kept thinking about teams and things like that in the system. I say, let's apply for this scholarship. How we go about it? And basically, I'm saying, because my intention originally was always I want to go off and learn this and come back home and support West Indies cricket. You know what I mean? And that was always my dream when I left. And the man said, like, nah, they went through a process and they decided that they don't want to give me, I don't know to say they didn't qualify. They decided to go in a different direction, which was fine. And so, my family dug deep and we put together, you make the sacrifices you got to make, and I went long. And even when I was doing my master's, or about to do my master's, somebody had contacted me, somebody working with him. I won't call the name at the time and say, I know you down here, blah, blah, blah. Told him my situation, apply, talk to this person. I talked to somebody and it fell through again, So that's not to, disparage anybody. Like, again, when one person gets in, someone else going to miss out, right? So I was just the boy at miss out, and I had no problem. But I didn't get any, I don't feel a kind of loyalty or to go, yeah, boy, let me go back and give back right now. Because the people who invested in me is the people here. You know what I mean? Like I said, when I was at uni, the cricket club is the people who put money into me and time into me and get me my coaching certificates and, the people who looked after me when or as my family, and a lot of people here have helped me along the way. And these people also gave me an opportunity. It's not like if I finished university and the rest is great more, somebody called me and say, hey, we know what you're doing. We got an eye on you. Here's a job. I was here working and I got opportunity here. So, again, I said to disparage the boy back home, like, no boy, I didn't necessarily do nothing wrong with that. It's just that here I got opportunities given to me. And I feel like I owe loyalty to the people who helped me get where I am here. I obviously, as I said, I love West Indies cricket. I will always be a Bajan and, I support the West Indies. The only time I don't support the West Indies is if we're playing against them, right? If Australia playing against them. And then even so, you still want to see the fellas do well, but I just won't wait.
Yeah.
So I will always be a Bajan. I will never feel like I'm not a Bajan or a servant of West Indies cricket. But yeah, that just has not been on the cards in terms of the opportunities I was given. I was giving them here and not necessarily back home.
Don't forget your person.
Huh? Oh yeah. You said you want to be a person. You want to be a person. Just anybody who I want to see on the show or some.
Yeah.
You're looking for a connection. I know you. You really want me like that. Saying it's somebody I know.
Perfect, Nero.
No, I know. I have to think about that and send it to you.
Yeah. All right, no problem.
No
Yeah.
problem at all. But I just say thank you very much for having me on the show. I appreciate it. You guys are doing great things and discussing important issues, and it's good to see young people. It's kind of our time in terms of this is our generation, but it should be people like yourselves representing these conversations and topics, while you're online. So big ups for what you guys are doing. I appreciate you having me on the show.
Yeah, no worries, Peter. No worries at all. As Nero said, we would really want to thank you for taking the time out. As Nero said, the times they weren't really aligning previously, but we were definitely glad that we finally got Peter Clarke on the show. It was definitely a exciting chat, Peter. I mean, we were here for an hour 30 odd minutes, and to be honest, I could honestly go another hour 30. To be honest. But I know we can't do that. We all have stuff to get to. But Peter, and I mean, yes, you are the psychologist, the Australia's team, but when I saw a couple of months ago, when I saw a picture of you and Leslie Riffa on the 19 World Cup, that picture for me, it really hit home for me, to see. Obviously, Leslie Riffa is a very good friend of mine, and I know you through Leslie, and I've actually been to your house a couple of times, and as Clint said, there wasn't a time when it was there, and it wasn't me and 10 other people. So I've obviously come to know you pretty good, and as Clint said, a top individual, and I know to see you and Leslie there on the 19th World Cup, two guys that were into cricket at a young age, and they didn't necessarily go down the path of playing, but to be in there at you being a psychologist and Leslie being an umpire, and two very important roles and capacities, it really made me feel good for you guys, knowing you guys personally, so just want to continue, wish you all the best in your journey. I know whatever you put your mind to, I know you're gonna smash it. I know you're gonna knock it out of the park. Like I said, we wish you all the best, my brother.
Appreciate it, fellas. Keep doing the good work, boys.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, bud.
Thanks a lot, buddy. Cheers. All right, guys. We now had a interesting bit of one. I mean, Nero, you get off the hook there, no? You get off the hook there, Nero. I really wanted to ask. I really wanted to get into to Peter there about playing the game. So I wanted Peter to rate your bowling, But I it's just the time.
I thought Clay would have get it. I lose thought.
No,
You know,
Listen, I got see. I stay still there, so You heard what he said just now, you saw?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, about Nero's supposed bowling.
Oh yes, perfect. Yes, I think I touched on that quickly, please, before you go. How do you rate Akeem Nero's bowling?
Listen to me. I don't rate it. That's what I was saying. I don't rate it. As a matter of fact, you remember when Nero, I think it was under 19 schools competition, Nero met bare runs, right? Nero scored 200 or 300 and come on. I mean, you know Nero always carrying on. No, the first ball get Pab blown on, but I didn't throw him out.
Net backer, man.
Pab, I play you walking off, and if you get bad, the ball would have hit the middle stuff. Tired to see famous Akeem Nero go up there. You play for Louis Lynch at the time.
Nah, for
Alexander.
Alexander.
Oh, yeah,
Alexander.
Anyway.
Bare runs, man. Bare runs. From
Bare-
hero to zero. Those are words of Peter Clarke. Peter Clarke is from hero to zero.
We blame you, man.
I'm pretty sure I heard that term already, but I didn't care for Peter.
No, that came from Peter Clarke. From hero, because they said Nero had real runs. Everybody talking about this man. From that husband's hero to zero, man.
Zero, man. They Pab blow down.
I tried to get me. He didn't go.
You still who is still playing? The fellas still playing cricket?
Nah.
Yeah, man.
Fell on the road.
Only two.
Yeah.
Nero, yeah.
I Clint is coach.
Yeah.
Right, I saw Clint coaching on. I saw you got an Instagram page for you coaching Clint.
Yeah, optimum performance.
I can go look. I go and find all the fellas on Instagram. I don't know a lot of people on Instagram, right? There's only good people I actually know and things. So I gotta go track down all the fellas now and follow we all doing. So, but I only two of the men playing. And we young men, you know. We should still play cricket, but you don't always.
Man, find different roles. You know what he said? He says the man find different roles, and as you said, the man said the money talk, boy. Man get jobs and I get in a hot sun for man to kind of call a trust, and then done got 11 pay. Yeah, so
correct, boy. You are a man. Cause I tell you, people love West Indies cricket. The people always want to know, cause they are accustomed. Oh, the people like we age and thing, and little grow up like in West Indies. Man, so you know what happened to West Indies cricket? Oh, they say. I am. This thing still got like mainstream in the water.
Yeah.
We still streaming though.
Hey, Jesse, you still streaming?
Yeah, that's true, right?
You gotta talk about cities, no, brother. So you could go.
I just say people used to say always ask the question. I got modified my thing. Ask the questions of like what happened to West Indies cricket and stuff. And one thing I said though was, which I can still say on live stream, my language, is that people when you finish now, right? So here or in Australia, when you finish school, let me see you play on a 19 or whatever age. You know they got there. Let me say 14 or 15 people contracted to a state contract, and it'd be good money. You know I don't want to talk about your main pocket, but it's good money. It's like it's the equivalent to working a good full-time job. Right? And then you still get match payments. So the first class creators make a lot of money. But let me say, even if you're not going to play a first class game, they have a rookie contract list. And those fellas, they get paid well too, get paid more than what the average salary coming out of university in Australia is $45,000, right? That's the average. That's across all it feels like at first year out of uni. And the rookie contract is better than that. So obviously it's attractive for a young person to finish school and go, let me get a rookie contract. So men want to stay in that. So even if you had other options, you would choose that, right? Whereas back home, we turn 18, 19, and you learn in the West Indies team, even if it's Barbados, we supposed to do that, in terms of supporting your family or something like that. People that have other options, not that everybody who say they don't have other options, some people make the choice, but a lot of people will go, you know what, again, overseas and study. People who do track and field and things like that, they go off and do track and field and stop playing cricket. We know a lot of people like that, right? Well, people go overseas, get a cricket thing, study, and then stop playing cricket. They go and get a job. So that's the difference. Money and organization is a real thing. So when I tell people what happened, we lose a lot of talent. We'll beat anybody under 15, right? We got the ability and the talent, but after that, people's structures and things are a lot different to ours. Now again, I will not claim I have the answer, but I know that is very, very hard to compete with. And then all the other things we were saying before in terms of access to resources and professional disciplines. But there's that money coming out means that you can hold on to your talent. The fellas who won't play and good enough, you can hold on to them. Versus in cricket, like look all the fellas on this call with talented cricketers, but you're not playing cricket anymore because you got a game. You're gonna start making some money.
Man, want to go yacht week, man.
Man, longer y'all, but not
Not
me.
you, not you.
Not me. And that's not a young single man, boy. Not me.
Yeah. All right.
Oh.
Yeah, well, once again, this time, I ain't gonna bring it back this time.
But Nero, let me apologize for this. Nero, I thought that we'd off the live stream. That's why I tell him, man. You that
No,
I would
no,
have never
you-
seen this one.
no need to apologize. No need to apologize. You're not the first person that would have ranked Nero's bowling in
Craig
that
read his bowling. The cap Craig read his bowling.
Has a very decent
He
off
probably
break.
say you're decent. He probably say
decent.
you're
Magnificent.
Craig.
Magnificent.
Yeah,
Craig
Craig-
is not gonna come on this show and bash Nero's bowling. Craig is not gonna come and say Nero is not a good bowler. Come on, let's be real.
Nero,
And then-
I would
and
never
then-
go for the live show. I'm blowing you, boy.
And
Needed
then Copain said it was decent. Copain said it was alright. Everybody, but you study, you give me a comprehensive breakdown. And that's what we like to see, man.
Yeah.
Nero, I would have never blown you so if I know we the online. Just ended the interview about 10 minutes before that. He said, "Nah, we all fine."
I ended your part. I ended your part of the interview.
Yeah, we still got a little bit to go.
Yeah, we still got a little bit to go. Yeah.
But let me go along with my Nero. I apologize, buddy, but let everybody hear though. He met enough runs that he scored enough hundreds, just not against QC. But he met enough runs.
And Lodge. He ain't scored nothing against Lodge.
Yes, but everybody else.
So he ain't do nothing. He ain't do
He
nothing.
scored. Yeah, he had the most. Nero, you have about 300 or 400 in that tournament now.
I get the call later. I get the call.
And Peter scored that runs another semi-final or finals berth. A lot of good runs, man. A lot of runs against that northern teams, right? He beat the St. Lucie and come down, right? Which you really get the husbands from piling it off, man. Cause that was the studio on the 19 format. Then the schedule, everything boy used to play up in there.
But bash you, Nero, boy.
Yeah. All right, Peter.
Whoa.
Thanks again, man.
Yeah, thanks, Peter.
Yes, buddy.
All right, Peter.
Bless.
Yeah, Nero boys. Sorry, I saw Peter there, and I sorry, I ain't do it to you in a long. I mean, we ain't really had much to guess on in a long time, but I just had to add in that part in Nero boy. Guys, quickly, I just wanna touch on the selection of the West Indies test team. I know my man really happy to see John Campbell back in the side. But let me just read out the squad quickly. We have Craig Braffett, captain, Jermaine Blackwood, vice captain, John Campbell, Shamar Brooks, and Kuma Bonner, Jason Holder, Kyle Mears, Joshua De Silva, Kimar Roach, Jaden Seals, Azarius Joseph, Anderson Phillip, Versami Pramal. Yeah. So quickly, guys.
No shockers there for me, Jess. I believe Shannon may be injured. So I believe Shannon may be injured. So Anderson Phillip probably is, I don't know, one of the sharper guys on the regional scene. He's done relatively well with the limited games that he would have played over the last two for his last season. So I don't have a huge problem with his inclusion.
If it was up to you again, did you play?
I wouldn't, unless the wicket at Seviv has a lot of grass. I don't think he would make my starting 11.
Okay, fair.
But he's a decent enough option to have in the squad. So, like I said a couple of shows ago, whichever opener scores 100 in the first two rounds of the first class season, they will play. So said, so done. John scored 100. John plays.
John, foolishness.
So, but really, who would you have played? Who would have been your selection to open the batting? Because okay, let's say a man shouldn't play. But who would
But
you
you're
have
gonna
started?
give the boy Jeremy a
Solozano?
chance because he didn't get fair break. He get injured. And he get the concussion in his debut. He played second game. So it's not to say that he played in Sri Lanka and failed.
New selectors though. New selectors. That's just a point that to make there.
And he had the same opportunity. Well, no, he never played. He didn't.
Sri Lanka was a while ago too.
He hurt.
He played one first. He played one of the first games. I think he got injured the first game. I think he played the second game.
Yeah, but you know, just look at certain games and certain matchups. But John Pump 100 against Barbados 100.
All right.
So
24 hours. Remember to tell you so.
See that, you know? Let's go. My only question mark here is Phillips. I guess they're probably trying to go to the same line as Jaden Seals, the trainee. I'm not saying he's a bad bowler, but I think he leapfrogs some man.
Like
Benchman.
We might say that is being biased, but Maki had a decent he might not be as quick as him, but Maki had 40 plus wicket. Max Swing Preston. He went on tour the last 2 tours, and he scored 87 the other day. I just think
that it's horses for courses. So yeah, Nero a person may feel thing, but obviously there's no Shannon. The attack could be a little same in Dapper and Jason Kimar. So you got 3 guys there that just bowling medium pace. So I can.
But my thing is Anderson does Anderson bowl 88, 90? If he bowling at 83,
I think he's probably high 80s to be honest. So he's a little sharper, but he's a little sharper than the rest. If he does play, he probably will be the quickest bowler on show. So
we got some names here for the guys. I just want the guys to tell me if hard done by or not. Devon Thomas.
Or Conte.
No.
Nah.
He had a decent start to the season, but realistically,
who he's going to replace? Who's he going in front?
So y'all picking teams based on different metrics from different players? I'm just asking, not being biased. Devon
no, but has he's a wicket keeper. You mean to play as a batsman or to play as a wicket keeper batsman?
Score runs in the same cricket as playing as everybody.
No,
I am not a Devon Thomas man, but I'm saying.
But in what role you got?
As playing as a batter. So y'all said not hard done by.
But no, all the batters that there, I don't think he's done enough to leave for all the batters that there. No.
Near Devon Thomas can't remember cricket. Sorry. He know for your talent.
Oh, he's there.
Not my test cricket.
Sorry, we missed you there a little bit after.
I hear them.
Yeah.
You're there, bro.
Go on. Great. Jamal Warkin.
Tough.
I think he was hard though.
Pamar left the last series as a leading spinner, and I don't know that.
Last series a long time ago.
Yeah, but it is the last time the man plays, so
as good as the last performance.
Pamar got wickets. Okay, last test game he outbowled Warkin. For a start season, Pamar got wickets as well, and so did Warkin, obviously. So I think the only thing will separate them will be the last tour. So and realistically, we're not gonna play 2 spinners in Caribbean.
One of the names came out already. Solozano.
Unfortunate.
I think
unfortunate because as Ricky said, he probably ain't get the fair
injuries. Right. I mean, due to the injuries, but
Nero,
to me, it's not.
Nero, my team is Solozano, right? And I had a discussion with a gentleman today, right? My team is Solozano. Solozano averages 23 in first class cricket, right? Now, how batting works and how levels work, right? It is very difficult for Solozano to average 23 in first class cricket, go up a higher level, and average more than that 23. So yes, John Campbell may not be the answer, Kieran Paul may not be the answer. I'm not saying Solozano is not the answer, but I'm saying it's very difficult for him to average more than 23 in international cricket based on the fact he only averages 23 in first class cricket. I don't know that I can find 5 batters average more at a higher level than they do at a lower level. That's just it.
Fair enough. But Clint, well, I don't know if Keith Holders listen to us, but I would like Keith to give me the average of John Campbell before he played Test cricket.
25.
Yeah, because why I say that is because it's so hard to base.
But no,
Like that's what we expect all the things to Clay. We expect
you see here he
we expect that our players come from averaging low to get to a higher level and top the class. And that's been enough. That cycle start being broken to me. We're in that era with Shea and Durrich and Roston. We're predominantly scoring heavily, consistently. You understand? And then you start hearing more and more about average, because then we have players like, for example, John Carter, Kevin Stowe. You understand? These are guys who was around the system long, but still the average in mid-20s. You understand? And that was you were here the cricket. Oh, that's a good average. That's a good average. But to me, I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. But that would not be my judging stick, to be honest. I don't. Yes, I don't think John Campbell is the answer. That's the honest to God truth. But he came back to the level, he scored the runs, or whatever the case is. And I don't see, unless he revamped his game, because in that same game he had chances with that same 100.
He did?
Yeah. He had chances in that same game. Yeah, Clint.
Yeah.
So for me, you might get a chance at that level, but you can't present chances so early. So I neither here nor there, to be honest, but I honestly would have preferred to see the youngster Salzano. See who's going tank, man. See who's going tank. That's the truth. But we desperately in search of an opener. And it's clear. We just play any minimum anymore. Who is fit, you put your foot in the and you go from there. But the selection of the team, I really got a lot of question marks, to be honest. Yeah, Anderson Phillips.
Fine. You want Parker for you?
Anderson Phillips inclusion to me. Yeah, we might oh God. We might question it, but to me it's neither here nor there. That's the truth. I just think that I hope that we select the best available team for the wicket. Not just say, we pick this body and this body go up. Let us say we pick a good combination, a bowling combination that can assist me in the conditions. Don't just say we go and select John and this body because we say, he's ball fast. But when you look at the track, is not conducive to pace bowling. Warwick messing up Nero. To be honest, if we being very honest, Nero, Warwick has some lucky breaks. Warwick has some lucky breaks in the inclusion. And then when he went, as Clint mentioned earlier, Paramount outperformed Warwick on that last tour. On that last tour, had it. Probably in first, and he catch himself in second, but to me, there's a big difference between Paramount and Warwick. None of the two don't spin the ball massively as left-handers, and then not only that, to me, we will say, let me watch a Jadeja, for example. Jadeja stay you on crease with minimum change in his action. You understand? When you watch, the other guy Nero who destroyed down in England and India, Patel. When you watch these guys will destroy you. But little tweaks, not much, you understand? They will spin the ball when they need to. I think our left-hand spinners lack that ability. Yes, they will do well in the Caribbean because we're allergic to spin, but they lack that ability. Yeah, they lack the ability to outfox the batsman, especially when you got a right hand on straight. He's a left-handed ball, and you got a right hand, you should be excited. You understand? Too often, I don't know, the strike rate for these spinners, it'd be too far, man. It'd be too far. It'd be too high.
For more action is make it seem like you spin the ball. So as a batsman,
no, none of the two don't spin the ball. None of the two don't spin the ball massively.
That's why I personally think accuracy.
If you didn't talk with my action, right?
Is actually spin the ball. So for me, that's why I say I think that we mentioned this on a couple of shows in terms of pigeonholing players into formats and stuff like that.
Right.
I feel I would like.
I think Hussein should be in the test. Yeah, I agree.
I hear the new selector, the chief selector, Sir Desmond. He was making comments. I got seven fine by a clip.
Hassani,
I,
listen.
I don't
Those
think he's.
selectors are like pastors to me. The morning word and evening word don't add up.
I got two more players.
Go.
Ross and Chase.
No.
Nah.
No.
Underperforming.
Gotta reflect. Gotta reflect. Go do John Campbell. Go John Campbell. He got John Campbell.
And last name Raymond. Yeah.
Raymond unlucky, Nero. I think Raymond unlucky, man. Yeah, be you say Calmiras, right? But I got a good man. I say all the time I got elephant memory. We had tours with Raymond, mate. I remember in New Zealand tour, Wagner Rambo, everybody sharing that crop, the rich shade, that whole lot. But Raymond carved out half centuries.
Yeah.
He performed with the ball. Like, to me, whenever given the opportunity, to me, Raymond is performed. He's not the prettiest. He might not pass what we say in cricket terms, the eye test. But in terms of cricketing ability and knowledge and understanding his role in game, like you see Raymond do it over and over. Yeah. And this is where now a girl like Peter will come in because it will play with your psyche. Yeah. But you can ask yourself, like, what more do I have to do? Yeah. You understand? Before these guys can say, well, look, we get Raymond a run. Because everybody around me getting a run. Everybody around me who may not have performed consistently are better than me. And why I like Raymond too, Jason, you understand? Like, Raymond had the challenge, Jason, of playing in a franchise outside of his home for a period of time and performing. You understand? He was actually just a staunch player in Ghana. When you see a Ghana team or franchise, Raymond there because he can perform. You understand? That was good. So to me, it just be hard done, Nero, man. That's the truth. It be hard done to me.
One leg about what Raymond did this season, I don't know if it was West Indies instructions.
Bat up the order.
Barbados, yeah, backing up the order now, right? He's now kind of positioned himself slightly different now. So if, let's just say, Nkrumah Bonner has a lean period, then, Raymond is knocking on the door for a top order position as opposed to battling down there with Jason. Because I think the issue before was, Jason playing, he and Raymond kind of doing the same thing. Yeah. So I think that he, in that top order position, battling 3 or 4, and he's kind of positioned himself a little different, and it may be a little easier for him to get in his side through that avenue. And I really like the move because Raymond has always been a really solid, compact, gritty player. And a man that I think, longer format. Well, actually, all formats. Raymond has done really well in CPL the last couple of editions as well. But even longer format, watching him back there at the overs, a little disappointing he didn't get 100. But the application, Peter spoke about the process and stuff like that. Watching him back there was good. So I think he's close. Probably next man in. I think he's vice captain for the President's 11 game as well too. So they obviously, So they probably got him in mind as well. So hopefully he continues his good form for the next 3 first class games when it resumes. And if opportunity comes calling, that he can grab it with both hands.
Yeah, I agree. That's it, Nero?
Yeah, that's it, Messi, man. Just brush it on the wrong 2.
I thought he was getting mentioned share. What?
we got
Now you late.
We got John Campbell saying here comments that national at me. If that's your guy, buddy, that's your guy. But everybody knows John Campbell right now scored after 15 tests. John Campbell got 640 runs. Mets for in a 3-match series, brother. So he can score 100 each innings here. I still ain't ready.
Ready, sit down again, Ready. Sit down one day, Ready. At the boss got 100 each innings here. You still ain't ready?
Nah, you can't do that, man.
Campbell is fine.
That would be calling a
I don't think he can score 100. I don't think he can be I don't think he can go a good series. I don't think so, Nero. And why I don't think so too, right? It's because England searching. England searching. So to me, some of the players on the tour looking to get stay in our England side. So
I know, nah. I think England more internal war. England right for the picking now, though. England got a lot of issues. Cause you got men and that the locals actually divided because of that whole short ball Jimmy Anderson thing, you know.
like
But it's
media,
like,
Sonny. You think you're real gullible, you know. You think you're real gullible, you know. You let this English media trick you all the time. Hassani, yes, don't get me wrong, but got a little disagree. But Hassani, England cricket don't be in turmoil.
the
England
men
don't allow
again,
the
the
cricket.
thing, as much better smoke this fire. As much as let's say yes, somebody had to get some sort of information to the media. But
Yeah,
you know who this is where somebody
but media
in the
don't say
camp had to say.
that Pollard and thing at Raf, that mischievous person. No, yeah, I say that Pollard and thing. And look at it, you can't keep a good man down. You understand? So you never know. Hey, Joe might come out singing Sizzler next. You never know. You never know. But I honestly though, even if Anderson and Broad don't play, like I don't know. I mean, this test team may be a little different, and the bowling that's a big blow to England, but England still got quality bowlers to Sunny man. Ain't gonna be none.
You get whitewashed down Australia. Your problem was
But that's
batsmen.
the norm. That's the
You drop
norm,
the best
Sonny.
bowlers. Man, that was
That's the
bowling good.
norm. You understand? The man get rid of KP after Ashes. That's the norm. That's the norm. So to me, I don't
Ashes that
see
everybody feel that, but he was the scapegoat.
that is the norm. So I would not say that England self-destructing or got into like that's England. Because England is hold itself to a high standard. That is just England. They just believe that they should get a favor, even if they get beat. It should not be a blow. You understand? So to me, I don't see the got, and you can see that this is man gonna come and restructure. Sonny. Stokes is a man that will jump you this series, and England was gone. You will not hear now but Broad and Anderson. Stokes will come and score double and take 6 and win the first test. You understand? And you will hear nothing. The media will then shift the narrative to Ben Stokes as the net captain. And then you can tell me Root and Stokes don't agree. So I don't get out there, man.
I thought Root promoting himself to 3 for this series.
Well, obviously, we definitely would want to see the West Indies perform to the best of their ability and hopefully win this test series at home. A lot of the guys, that a lot of my friends I've been speaking to, a lot of them actually believe that the West Indies do have a pretty good
We'll do
shot.
good. Yeah, I think so too.
And will perform pretty good at home. So we could only hope and pray that that
Better how it's called. People going on to the various overs to watch fans and proper.
Yeah.
I think they got a good chance too. And just anytime we're against the Queen, is licks. Licks. And you see it all the time. Look at when the car here in T20. Licks. You know what I'm saying? There's one place we beat England is here.
We wishing her a very good recovery by the way, but it can still be late for the Queen.
Round two of the regional tournament.
Okay.
Yeah, just read off the score, and then my CEO has to.
You really follow that tournament though? You just get scores.
Yeah. Watch cricket, but well, let me not say that.
Okay, fair enough. You got a good job, man.
We can edit that out. Nero. We edit that out.
Round 2, we have Trinidad and Tobago winning by innings and 43 runs. Trinidad scoring 326, Leeward's 97 and 186. We have the big game last week. We have Barbados versus Jamaica, where Clint's main man, the skipper, scored a magnificent double. 276 runs.
Like that gotta be so. That's Jesus Lord.
Over 1,000 runs. Over 1,000 runs was scored in this game. Over 1,000 runs was scored in this game. We have Warwick taking up 6 for 78, and Barbados won by 10 wickets.
That hurt Jeremy John Nero.
And the other game,
I see mine Shirley Bob was close.
It is at 57 runs. But I make 2 questions from
who? You say who?
Leroy's
Who
won
wins
by
that? Leeward?
yeah, won by innings at 57 runs against
And
Guyana.
Windward is who got ball out for you, know what you saying?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Wait.
Yeah, two games, so there.
Yeah.
Can't mix up, man.
Switch that wrong. Yeah. We have two questions from my COO before we go. A bit late, you know. He wants to know why some of our test cricketers don't dominate at the first class level when they come back down. Barring with the exception of probably Craig. And probably other than Jason Holder, are there any other genuine all runners we see coming through?
Good question.
The first question was why the
Some our test players, some of them don't come back and dominate at the level. Stamp their authority with the exception like
Because
performances
this
like
Welcome, I
Craig.
think the better than cricket. I just believe that. Them is Welcome thinking that they could bully the bowling, but man, to me, I think bowlers to just be as amped to get them out as much as them is be amped to get out the bowling. Because these men thinking, in order to make best in this team, I got out these men. These men who play best in the team. If I out these men, the selectors can notice me. So is a mentality. You gotta come yourself. I need to dominate.
But
But-
Nero, I don't know how many of our players really play for a SAS cricket.
First class cricket.
Yeah,
Correct.
because
That
like,
is true.
Roston,
That's the question.
they may actually are not really play for a SAS cricket
In
in
a
a
long
long
time.
time, to be
Because
honest.
they
So-
dominated to get there and then they don't really play as much.
But yeah,
And
because
then-
because of availability, Roston and Shea
Mhm.
playing all format cricket.
Yeah.
Kalmir's is kind
Yes,
of doing
all
that right now
format.
at this stage. So yeah, to be honest, is I guess is a real lack of. It's only Craig that is test cricket only, so he will be available for first class. Brooks even also is playing with ball cricket.
Rochi.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't really know how the guys really play a lot, to be honest. Obviously, Pollard and them ain't played for a SAS games in a very long time, and a lot of the white ball men because they're playing franchise cricket. So
Big up Philo, by the way. Big up Philo. And Carly Best. Big them up.
And to add to that, to me, Nero, to be honest, as I think someone would have said earlier, I mean, even to get to the highest level, you don't have outstanding seasons. You understand? So I mean, you're not. It's not that even before they get on the international stage that they're, well, except Craig, obviously, we know Craig was scoring runs from birth, and I'm pretty sure if Shea Holt was to play a full season, I would probably bet all my money that Shea Holt would probably have an outstanding season with the bat. Or I mean, he didn't say batting wise, but I'm pretty sure Shea Holt will have an outstanding season. But I mean, like I said, none of our guys, I mean, really have like outstanding first class averages.
Correct, yes.
Arguable.
That's why I say the period where Shea scored the doubles and Roston scored. That's that to me, that is like in that period of time was the only time where I could remember first class players actually worrying about an average and the runs they score. Because you had people like I people get in the feelings and things when you talk, but you had people like Stout and Jono, but these guys were keeping us and they're not in the setup. But when you check the average, you're averaging the same 20 as a man that no come in the system. You understand? So it is you're doing a good to yourself. You're not separating yourself, but then you expect that the people can say, well, you know what, he talented. We can no. So apart from that period, Jace, to me, first class player. Listen, I even had a discussion at the time with Burr in Perth, Jamal Smith. I don't know if you remember, but because that was one he plays with very player cricket, and it's always very heated. Not first class players in there. It's always getting enough stories, enough egos and things. But Bert at the time was talking about he keeping, as usual, he said enough stories, and ego, boosting your ego, bigger your chest. Bert was talking about he keeping in a tournament, a limited over tournament, I think it was. When you see keep up to the stump to somebody, Chris Gale was real. Chris Gale was really impressed and nothing. But you know what I mean, though, he's always devil's advocate. You understand? They just sitting on there quietly. I said, Bert, you average 11 at first class cricket, buddy. Oh Lord, that boy don't help. That started a whole big doodle. You understand? So at that time, and this was even before it was really like into discussing cricket. That's why I was always a person to do my research and check out. So even in that period of time, it was like averages didn't matter. You understand? We just simply glorify personal achievements over collective achievements. So that's why big up she and that crop boosting that. Let you know, listen, you come back here, you got to score. We expect. So then that's how you can push out certain people. You understand? So to me, as I tell Clint already, the first class averages need to go up, yes, but on the other hand, we don't play a lot of cricket, so I don't know, but you can't get best of both worlds down here, Jay. It's like true.
Yeah. What was the second question again, Nero?
Any all rounders.
Other than probably Jason, if we say any general all rounders.
We ain't got nothing, Nero, unless you're going purity and bad bread.
Any genuine all rounders?
Yeah.
Raymond all rounder.
Oh, shoot.
Raymond?
Coming.
Yeah, but Raymond is not up and coming.
But yeah,
If Raymond again, ain't like they can give Raymond a 6-year run.
Raymond's actually older than Jason. Hold up.
You see? So to me, ain't it? But JS boy, to be honest, that's a hard question. Nero? No, I would say no. To be honest, I don't think
they're hard to find on the world stage in general, and then yeah, you can always be stretching and
correct, because you can always you ain't gonna be the same.
Yeah, it's difficult. Jason commit. For me, the definition of an all-rounder is a man that commit the team as a batter only or as a bowler only. If you could do that, then I consider you a genuine all-rounder. And
so what Pollard is? Because he's making as a fielder.
No, but I don't want to get involved in that. But I would say that is really and truly is just Jason. And like I said, there aren't that many genuine all-rounders worldwide, and we definitely lacking for them here after Jason retires or whatever the case is.
I can't think of any up and coming all-rounders. No, up and coming, no, definitely no. I mean, as I said, Raymond.
And that's just to show you too, right, Jez? Sorry, not to cut you off. It's just to show you how we are boxed into certain beliefs. Because all the time you hear all the time, oh, this body and that body can't play together because I'm alike. And this body, but still, yet when the time comes for the same alike players to go on, there is no replacements. There is none coming up. You understand? You can't go in. For example, we watch a World Cup with a little man named Baby AB. Just that's the first time I hear about that man. But let me tell you something. If AB got a child, that is it. He is AB's child. You understand? We can't go through our system, Jason, and say, look, I pinpoint this youngster here to be the next. Even gonna be the next Jason. You understand? Or the next Craig. And
that was supposed to be Springs or
Justin.
Somebody said, "Oh yeah, fair enough." Yeah, fair enough.
But see, what's happened to
someone said Shamar Springer?
It's some setups, right? It's some setups, and I don't want to call the name of these setups, but it's some setups. You can find players going to practice or whatever, and there's some coaches that can say, "Listen, use a batsman. You gotta choose one. Use a batsman or your bowler."
That is so true. That is so true, Clay. That is so true.
So a man will go in that setup, and he will leave. He will be at school. He will be a general around at school. He batting 3-4, bowling for a share, opening bowling, whatever the case maybe. He going to that setup now. And
you doing the role.
You will hear, yeah. you will hear, man. Listen, you only bowling here, or we only want you to bat here, or whatever the case. So I might not lose.
That's so true.
I've seen that happen to players at youth level. So I don't know that we really encourage that type of thing. Yeah, mom may end up bowling a little saying here, bowling a little saying there, but in terms of actually looking to fully manufacture genuine all-rounders, I don't think we do enough of that.
Yeah, I don't think we got none in stock.
So yeah, I can't think of none. I like Justin Graves, well, to be honest. Justin is I think Justin Graves has a lot of talent. That's the truth. I think Justin Graves has a lot of talent, but it's the
born in wrong country.
A Jason Holder, probably not. But I think I like Justin. I like Justin Graves. That's the truth.
When you said Jason Holder, that's so because that man was number one. That man ain't just to see he's an all-rounder. That man was number one all-rounder in the world. You understand? So,
Uh,
like, you understand? So the final replacement for that is like really gotta come good.
yeah,
I know you understand saying that. That's the truth.
I ain't saying that.
It's sad, but no.
On a lighter note, fellas, this one, Carlos is back bowling. I think the operation, he back in the nets. Just
And he has not lost any pace.
Yeah,
He said he's not lost
yep.
any pace.
we ain't know yet. That's just initial report. He said initial report.
Being Yak Carlos on here, you know, and you gonna swallow your tongue.
It's probably already.
You know
But
how
I
me
am,
good?
but I give you my.
You know, he had me good. I tell myself he says out, Carl.
Yeah, we Yak Carlos on here.
You need to.
Yeah, we can get on here. We can get on here, and he can catch measles or standout nights.
So that get
Somebody
Nero?
who?
We got so much.
We got some much coachy.
We got so much coaching by final.
Oh Lord,
Carlos,
so true.
I am sure once Carlos is good time, he gonna sing, man. So yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah, he's a good man.
get him before England cricket in England starts. He's a new father as well too. So
Yeah, I made a congratulations on that, boy.
yeah,
You got
so-
the best
I-
job in
I-
the world, no fam.
yeah,
He
he
best
got
I had
job
a
in the
tweet
world,
there.
bro.
Now I tweet saying this week, and my man like it, boy. Was like,
Yeah.
he understand. Like,
Yeah.
literally, babies a power nap. Them got master.
Yeah.
Half hour power nap, and them good for 5 hours. Then whirling. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man.
Get
But
Carlos on the show, man.
Man, I know that's a laugh or cry, right? But that's so true.
that's the truth. Babies master power naps first. You put them down for 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Gone for 5. Gone for 5 hours. But yeah, we can get Carlos on here, man. But Jitney wrote that your CEO or your boss, no. Currently, we are out of stock of all-rounders in the Caribbean. We don't know when we'll get back them. We don't know when we'll have it back in stock. But when we do, we will contact you and you can collect it from any of our branches.
Well, guys, we had an eventful show tonight. Really enjoyed the conversation with Peter. We didn't get to review or go into any of the last 2 T20 matches, but we could do that. We'll touch on those.
Yeah, we touched on another time, man.
Those next week.
Another year.
Next week.
Could have got some good positives in our tour. That's the truth.
Yeah.
But we'll touch on that another time.
We'll touch on that next week. So once again, sorry, Neri, you answer this?
No.
Oh, okay. Once again, guys, I just want to thank you each and every week for tuning in. We really appreciate the love and support that you guys have been showing, continuing to show throughout the thing that we've been on. And whenever you watch this video, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, everyone. And do have a good night. Thank you.